Hey Spuddies, Potato McWhiskey here, and welcome back to one of my favorite games, Stellaris. I've got about 1,000 hours in this game, and Paradox reached out to me to sponsor this video, owing to the fact that the new DLC, Shadows of the Shroud, is now available. And just for fun, I wrote my own little pitch for it for you guys. Hopefully my editor can find footage to put over this. Okay, hold on. Carve a path into the Shroud with a new Shroud situation, offering players choices on how to navigate into the realms of immaterial psionic energies. Once breached, the new Shroud panel will offer players ways to interact with the patrons of this mysterious realm, offering great boons if you perform acts that please them, and even spreading their influence through the galaxy using psionic auras. The DLC is on sale now and contains new origins, civics, government types, events, portraits, ships, and much more. Link will be in the description of the video. Thank you again, Paradox, for sponsoring the video. And I say this every time. I only take sponsored deals for games I actually like and think are worth playing and buying, and I do think Stellaris is worth getting into. Caveat emptor, however, Stellaris can be a potentially expensive hobby, so do check and see if things are on sale and save yourself a little bit of money. Anyway, sponsorship over, right? Link in the description, pinned comment, yada yada, blah blah blah. Let's actually get into the game, right? So let's talk a little bit about what our plan is. So welcome to the Grey Chorus. So this is a faction that I designed myself, kind of a little bit based on one of my favorite games, XCOM. Big fan of that game. You can see here, these guys are called the Sectoids. And I've designed my build around the Endbringer origin. Now, this is a challenging origin that blocks all ascension paths except for the psionic ascension, which makes sense because our plan is to go psionic, so I was happy to take this. Now, why is this origin so challenging? Because it's a race against time. You need to get enough unity, which is a bit like culture, to get traditions, which are a bit like Civ 5 culture trees, kind of similar. They're not the same, but they're similar. Before your society basically collapses due to paranoia. This paranoia modifier will slowly get worse over time. And there are other negative modifiers that will make this even harder. So we need to get enough unity for traditions. We need to get enough psionic technology using society research, and then we just gotta survive through the maddening crisis that will unveil itself as we delve into the secrets that were best left unknown and alone when a nearby planet in our system was enveloped by the Shroud. So as part of the strategy here, I decided to go with a psionic themed faction. Our ethics will be fanatic spiritualist, which will replace all of our bureaucrats with priests and allow us to build temples. We'll get a significant boost to our monthly unity and a significant reduction in our monthly edict costs, which will allow us to have more culture or unity to go towards traditions. I also decided to go with xenophobe because one of the things I don't particularly enjoy about Stellaris is engaging in diplomacy or having my worlds with like hundreds of different species. So I'm not a particularly big fan of xenophile, so I went with xenophobe. You get a nice boost to your population growth, and it's cheaper to expand your empire using influence. Normally I would really like to go with imperial because it's just my favorite government authority. However, since we're taking exalted priesthood, which requires either an oligarchic or dictatorial authority, I decided to go with the oligarchic authority, since I prefer this one over the dictatorial authority, especially because this gives you a nice boost to your effective counselor skill level, as well as a nice boost to edict fund and counselor experience gain. In terms of civics, I decided to go with exalted priesthood. This is going to give us a nice early game unity boost by converting politicians into high priests, as well as getting us an extra +1 unity for every 100 bureaucrats we have, alongside scaling nicely with the effective counselor level that we get from being an oligarchy by actually reducing the upkeep of our bureaucrats. Unity is going to be one of the most important resources that we get our hands on this game. Similarly, I decided to take Byzantine bureaucracy because it provides a nice unity boost to my bureaucrats, but it'll also provide us with some stability. And stability is going to be really important for us because our population are going to be heavily unhappy due to the paranoia and madness negative modifiers. In addition, we'll get even more upkeep for bureaucrats reduction, meaning just with these options that we've taken right here, we should get an approximately 8% reduction in the upkeep of bureaucrats. And the way that I can explain that to you, imagine if you had to work 8% less hours to get the same amount of money. You would take that deal every single time. For our species traits, we will of course be organic, meaning we eat food. We're going to be natural sociologists, because we're going to need that extra society research in order to finish the psionic technologies. We're also traditional, giving us extra unity from bureaucrat jobs. And we've taken the new psionic species trait, Uncanny Intuition, which gives us an extra +2 effective counselor skill level. Again, meaning we actually get a 16% reduction in our bureaucratic upkeep without any other boosts or modifiers, which is going to be very, very powerful for us. We've also taken Unruly as a negative trait, since these other traits were actually relatively expensive. And Unruly is really easy for psionic empires to deal with, because psionic species and empires have a lot of ways to deal with empire size from pops. I also took Sedentary, because I don't really plan on moving my population around manually, rather we'll just rely on automatic resettlement. I decided to go with a tundra world because colder planets tend to have more minerals, and it's relatively easy to supply energy and food in the early game, and this build's biggest problem is going to be overcoming the early game. My ruler's name is Final Benediction, and their trait is Charismatic, which is going to make it even more effective for us to have really good edicts. As for the game settings, we're going to be playing on a large 800-star galaxy with otherwise default settings, except the AI is set to Grand Admiral with late game scaling. I'm not the best player at Stellaris, but I still do think that I can get away with playing on a high difficulty. Let's go ahead and jump into the game and start our opening moves. We are the harbingers of the cataclysm. As we take to the stars, we are drawn to explore this shrouded world. Soon enough, we will lift the final veil. Now, as per usual in Stellaris, we're going to take care of some very standard opening moves with choosing our technology. Getting a certain amount of technology online is going to be really important for us, so I will open up with taking the Field Dynamic Center. This is going to allow us to build a building that will significantly boost the amount of physics research that we get in the early game. Similarly, the Xenobiological Lab. I'm really happy that this is available, and if I'm really lucky, the engineering version will be available as well. And unfortunately, I wasn't so lucky. However, zero-G refineries is a pretty good early game technology, in particular because our strategy is going to be heavily revolving around expanding into space to support our capital world's economy. And here is the Grey Chorus, nestled somewhere southwest of the galactic core, with a single planet and a burgeoning dream to explore the galaxy and get to know its patron deity. So I'll begin by exploring some nearby worlds and building myself an extra 2 science ships. We also need to take care of our trade situation, and early game the most important resource is minerals. So I'm going to sell pretty much everything except for minerals. We do want to have a small amount of income of food and energy, consumer goods and alloys. All these things are used for colonizing, but it's totally okay for us to sell a little bit as well. And we need to buy as much minerals as we can, because that's going to be our biggest bottleneck to development. Now, our challenging origin will immediately create the Shrouded World archaeological site at Metamagus. Exploratory satellites orbiting Metamagus have identified a promising target for our first crewed mission to the surface of this shrouded world. The landing zone emanates a strange radiation that ripples across the planet, carried forth on ultraviolet winds. There are many sectoids who protest against this mission in fear of unleashing the same curse upon our homeworld. Their concerns are not without justification, but the overriding need to understand this distant phenomenon must take precedence. If we are fated to one day suffer this same calamity, at least we will die knowing why. So I click this button and an archaeological site should appear right here. And hopefully we have a scientist with the archaeological skill, and thankfully Nis Fable here actually does have the archaeological skill. So we're going to go ahead and recruit them and put them in charge of the science ship and immediately assign it to the excavation of the Shrouded World site. This is the archaeology site. Basically, when you assign a scientist to this, every certain quantity of time, I believe the base amount of time is 90 days. Each month in the game is about 30 days, so this is approximately 30 turns, or 3 turns, right? If you might, each year is 12 turns, each turn is 30 days, so it takes approximately 3 turns for a scientist to get a chance of getting a breakthrough. That 20% speed boost is going to shave a lot of time off this. Basically, he'll roll the dice every however long it takes him, and based on his skill and the clues and all the difficulty and all that sort of stuff, he will progress this archaeological dig site. At long last, we are able to reach out and touch the Shrouded World, known as Metamagus. Something there calls to us, a voice stronger now more than ever before. The secrets of the cataclysm that befell this world will reveal much of our own system's history, and hopefully ease our society's obsession with its own predicted destruction. Orbital scans indicate swirling patterns of intense energy, isolated to a point in the southern hemisphere. An ominous eye staring back at us. I mean, if you ask me, if I lived in this society, I would be like, dude, we should absolutely not mess with that. Like, that is 100% the last thing that I want to be spending, imperial resources on, is exploring the potential void eye, or that's staring into us. And so this is actually where we're going to reach our very first criticism of Stellaris. And this is one of those things about Stellaris that drives me crazy. And it's one of those things that makes me wonder, how much do the developers play their own game? Because what I really want from a trading system is not to choose how much I sell and buy, but to set how much surplus I have. Rather than selling 38 energy, I want to set I want to have 1,000 energy in the bank with a plus 10 energy surplus so that it sells everything above that. And then I just want to say, and then convert everything, all trade value below, plus 5 or above plus 5 into minerals. This trading screen drives me crazy because it encourages so much micromanagement on a month-to-month basis, because I'll unpause the game, right? And then my incomes will update, and I want to have a 10 energy surplus. So I got to come in here, I got to edit that. And this is one of those areas of the game where it slowly drives me nuts when I play the game. Oh my God, I cannot believe we actually found Shroud extremely early. Shroud is an incredibly important when you're playing a psionic based game, which we are doing right now. And to find it on our very first system that we're exploring is insane level of RNG. Very, very lucky. But yeah, I wish I could just tell the trading system to maintain a surplus of plus 10 energy. Sell everything above plus 10, sell everything above plus 10, sell everything above plus 5, and then buy as many minerals as possible. The very first building we are going to be building on our capital is going to be the Autochthon Monument. At the start of the game, 1900, approximately 20 population units, are going to be operating as civilians on our capital. Now, the thing about civilians is they eat food and they eat consumer goods, but they don't really produce much of anything. And so we need to get these people working. Now, one of the ways that you can get them working is by building the Autochthon Monument. They will consume more consumer goods, but you will at least get some unity out of them. So the Autochthon Monument is a great way to get a little bit of unity in the early game from a single building. It'll become less efficient as we start to use up those jobs, but it is extremely useful in the early game. I think approximately at this time, this would provide us with 19 times 0.5 is approximately 10 unity per month, which is about a 20% boost in our unity. It'll cost us a lot of consumer goods, but we have so many that we're selling them to buy minerals right now. So not a particularly big deal for us. Now, our third science ship is ready, and I'm a big fan of meticulous as a trait for your scientists. Basically, every time they scan anything in the world when they're doing, or in the galaxy when they're doing a survey, they have a small chance to discover anomalies, and this guy will have a 10% bigger chance. So I'm going to go ahead and grab him, and I'm just going to go ahead and set him on auto explore. I'm a bit lazy when I play Stellaris. I often leave my guys on automatic exploration. We have discovered some alien life, which will get us a nice boost to society research. We're now able to get our first tradition, and I'm a really big fan of expansion. However, I actually really like the discovery into expansion combo. Basically, discovery allows you to explore the galaxy really fast and provides you with ways to improve the quality of the land that you discover. And then expansion allows you to efficiently expand into that high quality land that you discovered. So I love these two in combination. So I'm going to go ahead and grab discovery. Now what that's immediately going to do is give us the ability to research anomalies faster, as well as unlocking a new edict for us. So let's go ahead and take a look at the edicts that we have available to our empire by clicking on the government panel and moving over to the policies and edict screen. Right now we have an available edict fund of 50, and what that basically means is we can run 50 unity worth of edicts without paying any unity. So Map the Stars increases the survey speed, the anomaly discovery chance. Remember, anomaly discovery, typically speaking, anomalies will improve the quality of land when you investigate them. So think of anomaly discovery chance as a way to improve the quality of the land that you're exploring. So we'll explore faster and get better quality land. In addition, Veneration of Saints is just going to straight up give us a big boost to the output from our priests, as well as a really nice boost to the spiritualist ethics attraction, which will matter later when factions are founded. In addition, Fortify the Border is going to give us a boost to starbase upgrade speed and starbase capacity. So I'm going to grab all three of these and activate them immediately. And it looks like we have found ourselves our precursor event. The Youth, I don't remember what each precursor does, but effectively each precursor has its own unique event chain and bonuses that you get from investigating them. And I believe the Youth provide a significant bonus to the habitability of your planets, as well as hyperlane boosts. And that habitability can actually have a pretty important impact on this build, because it might mean that we can settle some worlds sooner than we would normally be able to, and use the unique building that we're going to get access to reduce the effects of paranoia. Now this starts out at -5%, it's almost already -6%, and we're only about a year into the game. So this is going to get worse and worse. Now happiness is one of those things that probably a lot of people don't fully understand, but basically the happier your population is, you can see here this guy's 63% happy, which is very relatable. The happier your population is, the higher the stability on your world will be. You can see here a 66% population approval rating is giving us +9 stability. The higher your stability is, the more resources you will get from your jobs, and the more people are likely to resettle to this planet. So basically, paranoia is going to be economically crippling as time goes on. Now we need to take a moment to take a look at our council, because Infinite Opportunities is ready. This is going to be pretty useful to us to offset the paranoia penalty. Once I click this button, we're going to get a 10% boost to our population's happiness for another 10 years, which ain't too bad. I'm also going to be able to select a new agenda, and since we're very early into the game, I want that anomaly discovery chance and survey speed, as it's going to improve the speed at which we explore new land and improve the quality of that land. It's time for us to adopt a new tradition. I'm going to go ahead and grab myself Science Division, which will give us +1 scientist capacity, as well as a +1 to scientist starting skill level. Let's go ahead and grab that, and that will allow me to actually build myself another science ship. Right now, if I open up the leader screen with F5, you can see here I can have 3 out of 4 scientists. Every scientist or every leader type you go over your capacity will significantly reduce the experience gained by all of your leaders, right? So if I have 5 scientists, I am 1 over my capacity, and my capacity is 4. So 1 divided by 4 is 25%, meaning I would earn 25% less. I would earn 25% less experience with all my scientists. And as you can see, the Autocathon monument is finished, and we're already up to 100 unity per turn, per month. Every month there's a tick, basically. You can see these civilians are actually outputting like a bunch of unity. It's kind of crazy, actually. Now I'm going to go ahead and stop selling my consumer goods, and I'm going to start building city districts here. By building city districts, we will increase both our consumer good amount, our amenities, our science, our just everything, right? Because when we build a city district, we're going to get a boost of 1,000 housing. The fact that we have 2 specialization districts in our city district is going to remove 400 housing from that. So build a city district, you get 600 housing. 1 pop needs 1 housing, so we have room for 600 more pops. Every 100 pops is basically 1 job. Bish bash bosh. We click on this, we get room for 6 more jobs. There's kind of a series of choices we need to make. We'll need to convert this archive over to I want to convert it over to a research enclave. Now I could choose to make it a society research enclave, like specialize it, but I would rather just move it over to a normal research enclave. It'll kind of make sense as we do it. All right, another Unity tradition here. We're going to go ahead and grab Polytechnic Education. That's going to give us a leader experience gain of 10%, as well as an extra recruitable leader per class. Excellent. Once we're in year 5, we'll take a look at our current leaders and see if we want to make some changes. Recruit another leader. I'm just going to put him on auto survey. He might not make the cut. Talon Flux, my head of research, who has resilient, meaning he will live for a lot longer than normal, which is a great trait because it means any abilities or bonuses that he accumulates will get to benefit from for longer. He is my head of research, meaning these little triangles underneath here signify council skills, which means they apply empire-wide. So I could either go for logistic understanding, which would reduce the upkeep of our ships, or I could get Spark of Genius for the extra research speed. Research is an important challenge for us in this game, so I'm going to be going for Spark of Genius. And that, right now, that's not going to provide us a huge amount of extra science, but it will over time. Perfect. We have the 1,000 minerals that we were saving up for, so I'm going to go ahead and immediately switch this district from being an archive, which splits the jobs of the district between physicists, biologists, engineers, and priests, and instead, we're going to switch it over to a research enclave, which will get us about 50% more research from the same district. It will destroy the temple and kind of hurt our Unity production, but we have so many bonuses to Unity that it's not that big of a deal, and the research is a little bit more important to get online. Final Benediction, my ruler, has leveled up. I'm going to go for another level of Charismatic. There's going to be a lot of edicts we're going to want to run, and Charismatic is going to make them a lot cheaper and a lot easier to maintain. We've fully surveyed Ripagaur, which does have an Arctic tundra world with 80% habitability. So I'm going to go ahead and send my construction ship to build a starbase outpost so that we can claim it and start colonizing it. Now, since our plan is to get a lot of early game researchers, I am going to go ahead and grab faith in science, which will reduce the upkeep for our researchers by 20%. The best way to explain this is, again, imagine if you were working a normal 40-hour work week, right? And you were getting 40 hours worth of pay. Now imagine if you had to only work 32 hours of work a week, but you were still getting paid for 40. That's how good faith in science is. It's insanely powerful. It makes your scientific economy a lot more sustainable and a lot more efficient. Let's grab ourselves another Unity tradition here. We're going to grab To Boldly Go, which is going to give us a 35% boost to our survey speed, meaning we survey the galaxy even faster, as well as getting us a 50% better chance for our science ships to disengage when attacked. Oh lovely, the end is nigh. The next phase of our archaeological site is available. The terrain on Metamagus is as treacherous as predicted. Swirling vortices of gloaming particles carve through the air, slowing the initial progress of Nis Fable and her crew. Alarmingly, our research team has begun to report sensory inconsistencies. They describe distant howls carrying on the winds and shadowed figures stalking in the mists. Is it truly a mistake to be here? The first public broadcasts of the landing have triggered widespread panic in Sectoria. Many are fearful that we may be courting the mysterious destructive powers that once visited Metamagus. Organized protests proclaiming that the end is nigh are sweeping across our homeworld, shutting down much of our infrastructure. Telemetric scans have revealed a cavity emanating particularly high radiation levels deep within a nearby mountain range. We are determined to push farther, whatever the cost. Beneath the surface, we must find what awaits us. So we're going to get a boost of artifacts. However, we're going to get 10 years of minus 10% output from our jobs, which is pretty painful. It's fine. It's fine. I'm going to go ahead and level up my archaeologist with another level of archaeologist. That way he'll be able to go even faster through this archaeological dig site. I think the way that this works is because he's an archaeologist, instead of 1 day passing, 1.35 days pass every day, which means 90 divided by 1.35. It takes him approximately 66.6666 days. So he is 35% faster. So quite useful. And also his skill bonus now is +2, meaning he will reach the breakthrough much faster. Basically what happens is we have a 30% chance to add a clue, which will then increase the power of future rolls. And the current score before dice roll is -2. And the skill bonus adds to that. So as he levels up, he will get faster and faster and like compoundingly fast at this. Okay, now that we have our research conclave online, we're going to begin by building regular research labs. And the idea here is we're going to boost our early game research just a smidge in order to finish these field dynamics, the xenobiological lab, and the materials center, because we need to get those up and running as soon as possible. Technology is one of the most important ways that you can scale up your empire in Stellaris. Speaking of scaling up our empire, Rigipur 1 is available for colonization here, and it looks like a pretty standard tundra world, so I'm going to go ahead and send a colony ship. It'll take about a year or two for them to get there and get themselves up and running. So Yonder Blender has leveled up. Now he already has Meticulous, so I'm going to grab Roamer. I could level up Meticulous, improving his chance to discover anomalies, but survey speed plus anomaly discovery chance will make him an absolute demon at exploring the galaxy. Hopefully we can keep him alive. Or her. Now we can grab databank uplinks, which is going to give us access to the research subsidies edicts, as well as boosting our research station output and our starbase construction output. This is also going to finish the discovery tree, giving us access to plus 10% research speed, the research cooperative federation type, although our origin story does not allow us to form federations, so that's not important. That 10% research speed, however, is really useful. And in addition to that, we can grab, they changed technological ascendancy. So I was going to grab this for the extra 10% research, but they actually changed how technological ascendancy works. So now I'm rethinking what I want to go for. I am a really huge fan of transcendent learning because it gives you a 25% leader experience gain, 15% less leader upkeep, and +2 scientist capacity. I think in combination of with Discovery, that's going to be very powerful for us, especially in a couple of years when our leader pool refreshes and we have those +1 skill leaders coming online. Perfect. One of the research labs has completed, which is going to give us +12 science. I should actually come up here to my government and pass the research subsidies boost here. It is going to cost us a bit of energy, but I think it's worth it. It does use up a significant amount of unity, but we still have Edict Fund to fuel it pretty easily. We have discovered a primitive society on Carino. Now, unfortunately for them, they live on an alpine world, and alpine is pretty habitable for us. So it's likely that we're going to invade and purge them. As a way to help sustain our early game economy, I'm going to go ahead and replace the crew quarters on my shipyard here with a hydroponics bay that's going to produce 10 food, which will support approximately 10 population. It's not quite that. We have significant penalties later on that will make it harder. It's more like 400 pops that it will support, or 4 population units, which isn't too bad. Now that we have completed Discovery, I want to go ahead and get to work on expansion. I love expansion, it's a ton of fun. However, I could see an argument for either aptitude, which would allow us to further reinforce how good our leaders are, or statecraft, which would make our council much stronger as well. Expansion is one of those things that is really only effective early game, and the population growth here from it is going to be super useful. So I'm going to go ahead and grab expansion, and what it will do is it's going to allow our colonies to develop 25% faster, as well as reducing the upkeep for habitats. We're not really building habitats right now, but the colony development speed is nice because we are in the middle of developing a colony. And so this colony will come online a little bit sooner now, thanks to that. We have an update to the Shrouded world. We are not the first. The mountainous cavity on Metamagus has been breached, revealing an abandoned alien structure lost to the cataclysm. We find it best to keep this information classified in order to prevent further panic. Preliminary analysis confirms that materials used in the facility's construction do not match the molecular composition of available minerals on the planet, suggesting that a spacefaring civilization built this installation using exotic materials. The exact purpose of this place remains unclear, but its functionality appears to have been mostly automated. Meanwhile, the team's psychological symptoms are worsening. Some report voices whispering through the encrypted frequencies, while others describe distorted perceptions of their surrounding physical environment. Occasional fits of laughter are becoming uncomfortably commonplace. We've gone too far to turn back now. Let's keep searching. This is going to give us a nice boost to our minor artifacts. We'll go ahead and grab those. And since we built all of these research labs, we're burning through our consumer goods pretty quick. So I'm going to go ahead and grab myself another city district here, because it will produce a small surplus of said commercial goods, allowing us to finally get a use out of all these pops we have here. I'm also going to go ahead and start the construction of a new starbase around Ripagaur. So we'll go ahead and do a starbase upgrade here. That's so that we can fill it with economically boosting modules like solar panels and hydroponics bays. The Ripagaur starbase is finished, so I'm going to go ahead and grab myself a couple of solar panel networks and the hydroponics bay as soon as I have the materials. I am going to go ahead and continue building city districts for a little bit because I need those materials. In particular, I need the alloys and consumer goods. Final Benediction has leveled up, and we could choose between Champion of the People, which would give us a direct happiness boost to counter paranoia. So I'm going to go ahead and grab that. The other one was Fertility Preacher, which gives you a population boost. Right now, the paranoia is down to 11.3%. So I think that's pretty important that we offset that as much as we can. We have met the Pelizimian, the Pelisman Protectors. They are a stagnant ascendancy. We found our very first fallen empire. A fallen empire is an empire that was once a glorious civilization spanning the entire galaxy, but they have since receded into a small area. And all I have to say to that is that their age is over, the time of the sectoid has come. And it looks like these guys are all the way over here. I'm not really sure how we met them, but we did. Now 5 years have passed, which means we have new scientists available. And we can recruit 2 more if we so wished. Right now we're having a little bit of a choke on alloys, so I can't really afford to get any more science ships or construction ships. Now, one of the ways in which we can make our empire capital more useful is to actually shift the basic material production that is sort of propping up the economy out to my other planets, like Ripagaur Prime. So I'll start building some basic districts out here on this sort of side world, this colony. I'm also going to recruit a governor who will help maintain this planet for me. Zero G refineries has finished, which will give us a 10% boost to our mining station output. Let's go ahead and grab a new research, and there it is, the materials lab. That's what we were looking for. It will take 87 months to research, but once we finished it, we'll be able to build all 3 of these material labs, giving us a really strong boost to our early game technology. Nis Fable has leveled up, and I want this guy to focus on doing archaeology and anomaly research, so I'm going to grab the Carefree bonus, which will improve the speed at which they research anomalies. Specializing your scientists is not too bad of an idea, and it does look like we found a Shroud seal alongside a conclave. Interesting. I think this is the anti-psionic conclave, so this is one of the new factions in the game. We're going to want to defeat those guys. So basically, they are the crusaders against the warp. They fight the immaterium. So this might actually be one of our early game significant challenges to overcome, is to take these guys out. I have enough surplus consumer goods now to where I can consider supporting a new temple. This will give us a nice boost to Unity. Our Unity has dipped significantly, partially because I deleted my early game temple, and partially because the number and level of my leaders is starting to climb. So I am going to start to need to build things like temples to counteract that. And we are going to need a significant amount of Unity all throughout the game. So I'm going to build that temple now. It looks like we found an abandoned gateway. There should be a few of those throughout the galaxy for us to connect with eventually. And this game, I've actually been incredibly lucky with my scientists, all getting good traits and rolling good traits on level up to where I haven't needed, or I haven't felt like I needed, to replace them. So we're going to be able to launch the chart the unknown agenda, giving us a huge boost to our survey speed, and start a new agenda. Since we are starting to increase the amount of priests that we have, it would be nice to be able to increase the size of our council, since this will give us access to a role which will allow us to reduce the upkeep of our priests, meaning they consume less consumer goods. We finished researching the xenobiological lab, which is one of the big first steps in getting our early game build online. Now our goal is to try to improve the efficiency of our economy as much as possible so that we'll be able to make it through the crisis. And so eco simulation here is going to give us a significant boost of food, meaning we'll need less farmers in total to sustain our economy. Similarly, the Field Dynamics Center has been finished, meaning we need to do the exact same thing, but for physics research. However, we could go for administrative AI here to get an extra 5% boost to our research speed, and I am going to go ahead and grab that. Looks like we've discovered a shimmering structure on Ripagaur Prime. We'll have to investigate it. I wonder what secrets it will provide for us. The next phase of the Shrouded World has activated. They are all dead. At the seat of each station, in the heart of this facility, slumps the desiccated corpses of an unknown alien race. Their many pale eyes staring towards the ceiling. Despite their frightening appearance, Nis Fable is reasonably certain these figures are not a product of hallucinations. Images of these life forms are currently classified as strictly confidential. No weapons of any form can be found, suggesting that their presence on Metamagus lacked hostile intent. This facility was likely an observation post with sophisticated monitoring equipment trained directly on Sectoria. Radiocarbon dating places their activity here long before the cataclysm struck. We have decoded many of their records. Aside from routine communication logs, they largely concern our civilization's early history. They were watching us? What? What the heck? They were here to watch us? That's creepy, dude. Okay, so we get a bunch of minor artifacts and a bit of society research. That's excellent. Oh, I wonder what will be uncovered with the next phase. Woo. Ugh. It legitimately gave me like a little tiny shiver. Ugh. Excellent. We can pick another Unity tradition. So I think the one that I would like right now is the population growth plus 10%. That's going to give us a lot more population. Population is incredibly useful in Stellaris. It's one of the main ways that you advance your empire. So getting a 10% population boost is really useful. So to investigate this shimmering structure, we can use brute force or external studies. I'm going to do some external studies. I don't want to get too close to that thing. Oh, it looks like we found some sort of ruined world. The ruinous core and the lost encampment appear tomb worlds. Interesting. Worth exploring, I bet. Perfect. Our factions have formed, and now we're going to get some bonus unity based on how much they like us. Considering the Conclave of Sacred Traditions has a 95% approval rating, I'm going to go ahead and promote them. This will increase the percentage of my population that will be attracted to them. Right now, we have a 72% attraction rating. If I click this, it should go up to 82%. And the really important thing about this for us is that your population inherits their base happiness based on the faction that they're a member of. So if I go to my economy here and I look at some of the population, if we take a look at this spiritual sectoid here, who is a part of the spiritualist faction, we can see that their happiness is actually relatively high, 53%. But they are not in a faction. Sorry, I misread. These guys are not in a faction, but these guys right here are. And because they're in a faction with very high approval, they'll get a plus 10% happiness, offsetting the paranoia penalty. Ooh, paranoia penalty is very fun to say. Paranoia penalty, paranoia penalty. Oh, who is this? The Mind Warden Enclave. So Mind Wardens, they hate everything psionic. The Shroud can be best described as a dimension of reality that exists beyond ordinary perception. So we can donate Zro to them for them to destroy, which is kind of interesting. We can recruit Thought Police? Ooh, that's kind of interesting. Now what's interesting here is if we know of another psionic empire, we can actually pay for them to go raid them. That's a really cool gameplay mechanic. So I imagine people are going to be using that against us. These guys are going to become incredibly hostile to us once we actually fully ascend psionically. Our head of research has reached level 4, which is going to allow him to pick his veteran class. Now, since he is a head of research, I do think that statistician is the best veteran class, as it's going to give us an overall 5% research boost. The other ones are more focused on like governance or anomalies or exploration. And so now we're deep enough into the game with enough spare alloys to where we can recruit 2 extra science ships, I believe. Here is one. Ooh, yes, I do love anomaly discovery chance, so I'll grab you. And I can get adaptable on you. Now that's quite powerful. Ooh, and Roamer. Oh, all 3 of these. These are 3 of the best ones, because not only are they going to level up fast, but he's a great surveyor. Go and survey, my son. Make the sectoid empire proud. Then let's use Nis Flatline. We'll go for anomaly research speed with them and go explore and survey. Actually, you know what might be good? Go investigate anomalies for me, since that is what you're good at. Ooh, so the shimmering structure has revealed itself to be a command chamber. That's going to give us access to basic cloaking fields and an ancient cloaking array to the planet, which will reduce the orbital bombardment damage and give us a boost to happiness. The boost to happiness is super useful, again, because of the paranoia modifier. We've got a lovely surplus of consumer goods, so it's time for us to build ourselves a couple of extra temples. We could opt to build a holo theater to keep the happiness up on our planet, because the higher the amenities are, the higher your citizen population happiness will be, which will in turn increase stability. But I would rather get a lot of unity than a lot of amenities, so I'm going to go for the priest angle here. I'll build another couple of those bad boys. Ooh, the Shrouded World, we got another event. The database on Metamagus has been deciphered, proving many of our discredited legends to be true. We were the subject of an experiment in the mental science known as psionic theory. Our species was determined to have this latent potential. Many of our ancestors would have sensed these communications in dreams as distant voices, phenomena that might otherwise indicate mental illness or paranoia. However, their experiment was cut short. In its last days, this place was no observation post, but a survival shelter. Their reports on our society cease after a disastrous experiment on their capital world, involving the reckless manipulation of the barrier between realities known as the Shroud. Their scientists refer to this incident as the Reckoning, and we suspect this was the true source of the cataclysm. Whatever this incident was, its influence soon extended to Metamagus. Their last moments are recorded in a single log entry. The end has come. Will it come for us? So we're going to get some minor artifacts and some society research. Ooh, man, this is really well written. I'm really enjoying it. I love this new Shroud storyline. And I'm usually not a person to read events. I usually don't like them. But today I just felt like doing it. And you know what? I've been reading more books lately. I'm getting that Frisian feeling, man. Ooh. All right, excellent. We managed to annex another location with a colonizable world. This is a tundra world, which has near perfect habitability. So we're going to go ahead and colonize it. Go ahead and designate that. Also, I think it's time that we got ourselves another construction ship. So I'm going to get that underway. And once we have the alloys, I'll build another starbase around here. Awesome. So we got eco simulation. That's going to boost the amount of food that we produce from farmers. I'm going to start myself a new research. Population growth speed. Getting more population is always good, so I'll grab genome mapping. It's one of the greatest bonuses you can get in the game. Administrative AI has been fully researched, getting us that nice 5% boost. Let's also grab field modulation here. That's going to boost our energy output, meaning again, we need less people to sustain our economy. Becoming economically efficient is very important because as our people become more and more paranoid, we're going to start to struggle. Looks like we've discovered a natural wormhole, which is very cool, all the way over here. These can connect to distant points in space, meaning if we need to do anything interesting, it would be kind of cool, like transporting fleets across the galaxy. Oh, there's some kind of destroyed thing here. Interesting. Very interesting. The graphics of Stellaris are crazy, dude. Like, gorgeous. It's too bad I spend most of my time playing at this zoom level. One of my science ships went missing, and it was my head of research, which really pisses me off because I know it's a Cthulhuid. I should really turn those Cthulhuids off. So I have 10 years to build a fleet with a 1,000 fleet power to recover him. And in the meantime, we're suffering without a scientist who can fill his shoes. I'll just recruit someone on a temporary basis, but we will try to recover him. Now, if I remember correctly, red lasers are the best way to attack Cthulhuids, and the youth actually have special bonuses towards energy weapons. So I do think going for energy weapons here is the correct play on our corvettes. I'm going to need 21 corvettes to be able to reach 1k fleet power. We've also managed to discover or capture the Carino system now. And so now we can consider if we want to invade the Pulvanites here and enslave them. They are pretty good at farming, so we could use them as slaves to produce food on this planet for us. And we also just unlocked the materials workshop, which is going to trigger a pretty big change in our capital city. So first of all, let's start a new research. It would be nice to get geothermal fracking to improve the efficiency of our economy. And I believe these guys aren't going to have particularly strong armies, so I think a single army recruited should do the job. So I'll go ahead and recruit an army from my capital world to send to conquer Carino. Oh my goodness, we discovered the Rubricator. That's a fun event chain. I'm looking forward to playing around with that bad boy. Might not get to it because we're a little busy. I gotta say, man, I always have like a big smile on my face when I'm playing Stellaris. I just really enjoy the game until I get to the point where all the things that annoy me kick in when it comes to managing your empire in the late game and stuff. But until then, I'm having a blast. So we're gonna be replacing these research labs, which have 180 jobs each and produce about, call it 15 science. And instead, we're going to be replacing them with specialist centers. You can see here with the Field Dynamic Center, which not only do they have 200 jobs, but they also boost the productivity of all physicists. And we're going to do it with all 3 of them. It'll take a few years to get them constructed, but it'll work. Oh, it looks like we've discovered a void worm. I don't like that. I'm gonna start buying alloys instead of minerals so that I can fulfill up this fleet a little faster. Final benediction, our High Inquisitor has leveled up. I'm gonna take the advisor role here, which will reduce the population upkeep by 5%. That'll save us a significant amount of food and consumer goods. Once I click this and I let a month tick, you should see we'll get a small increase to both. Again, it's all about trying to get more from less to become more efficient, using less resources. Ripagara Prime has reached a high enough population level for it to get upgraded. I'm just waiting for the minerals to come in. We found an ancient structure here that has attacked our science ship. Hopefully he can escape. Looks like he did. Perfect. We finished genome mapping, which will give us a boost to our population growth. I'm going to grab planetary unification to boost our unity per month. We also finished field modulation, which will boost our energy income. And so I'm going to grab global energy management, which will allow us to get even more energy from our... Oh, actually, blue laser might be the key here. Yeah, blue laser would significantly increase the fleet power. We're also able to expand our council now, so I'm going to grab myself the administrative coordinator. The archpriest and the administrative coordinator have the same effect, so it doesn't matter which one you get. And then I'm going to put Sal Circuit here, and he's going to significantly reduce the amount of upkeep that the 600 priests we have on our capital world are going to take. You can see here he's actually reducing it by 12%, saving us a couple of consumer goods. We could go for the Grand Archive if we want. I'll pay the 1,000 for it, I suppose. And the next council agenda that I would like is going to be evolving society for the extra monthly unity. That unity is going to be very useful. The Shrouded World, I think this is the final event. We have found definitive evidence of the cataclysm's source. It was not difficult to find. Nis Fable claims it called out to her. Deep within the facility, defying conventional analysis, a pulsing, intangible mess has been identified, existing neither as matter nor energy. Nis Fable has described it as the lingering resentment of consumed wills, referring to it as the fragment of reckoning. In a misguided effort to contain and channel the ethereal energies of the Shroud, this object was intended to be used as a defense against the reckoning. However, it was only partially successful. In the last moments of this world, the malevolent entity was forcibly banished from this dimension, taking the unwilling minds of the scientists with it. This fragment is now all that remains. This object amplifies the visions and hallucinations of our researchers, granting them a second sight beyond this limited reality. It is a dangerous but promising proposition. We still have so much to learn. So we're going to get access to psionic theory, which is very, very exciting. We also got a really big boost to our minor artifacts. So this is the fragment of reckoning. If we were to build the galactic archive and then to display this, we would get 20 biological science per month, which is actually pretty damn good. I'm going to proclaim a religious revelation with our minor artifacts because we have maxed them out. So that'll get us 1,000 extra unity. And just for the fun of it, I'm also going to discover a precursor, insight. So Nis Fable did a really good job doing the archaeology here. So I'm going to turn them into a scholar. That's going to give them a 10% boost to anomaly, archaeology, and astral rift speed. And I'm going to tell them to investigate anomalies and archaeology sites. I'm also going to grab Reach for the Stars, which is going to reduce the influence cost of expanding our empire by 10%. Now, considering we are xenophobes, we already get a 20% reduction. We get another 10% from that tradition, and I believe our government policy is set to expansionist, which should provide us with an extra 10% reduction. So in total, we're getting a 40% reduction in the cost to expand our empire, which is pretty damn significant. Ooh, we found the Star Mall. It's an orbital habitat. Oh, it has +2 max districts and extra amenities. That's awesome. I would definitely like to colonize this. That sounds like a lot of fun. Parking orbit, the white dwarf zone. It's got like a little advertisement over the asteroid. That's amazing. Then you get the black hole parking zone. Amazing. My Minister of State has leveled up, so I'm going to grab the advisor ability as well. That's going to reduce our pop upkeep by another 5%, saving us a significant amount of food and consumer goods. Now, Dag Zane is good at anomaly discovery and surveying, so I'm going to go ahead and send him back out exploring. We finished building our Field Dynamics Center, the Xenobiological Lab, and the Materials Workshop, which is a significant early game sort of hurdle for us to overcome in order to boost our science capability. That's going to help us to scale our economy. We're gonna need more unity. Right now things are okay, but since there's almost no civilians left on Sectoria, I think it's time for us to replace the Autocathon Monument with another temple to boost our Unity income. The stability and the amenities are also super useful again because we have so many happiness problems. The paranoia is really starting to kick in. We're at minus 21.2% paranoia. Oh, we found a Youth cryopod, very useful. So we've discovered a derelict colony ship as well, and the Youth cryopod will be worth an extra 5% habitability. I definitely want to build the galactic archive. What is this? A Star Mall parking drone? That's amazing. It's little friendly parking guys. Oh, that's amazing. There's a little sign. I really want to capture this. Perfect, we can adopt another Unity tradition. Let's go ahead and reduce our empire size from planets and systems by 25%. Empire size is one of those things where after the early game and you have a certain amount of empire size, you're going to start taking penalties to your cost of technology and your tradition adoption cost, which are basically penalties to the amount of Unity and science that you produce. So by taking this, we delay taking those penalties, and future penalties are less impactful, which is a bit of a double whammy in our advantage. We went from a 1% increase in tech and Unity cost, or from a 3 to a 1, which is a pretty significant reduction of a penalty. And that's going to be working away for us for the rest of the game. We finished researching geothermal fracking, which is going to give us a boost to our mining economy. And a pretty significant technology in the early game is assembly patterns, because that 25% planetary infrastructure build speed is very useful for retooling your planets and improving your economy. And we've ran into our very first enemy species, or rather, well, enemy, like other empire. And they have the exact same ethics that we do, fanatic spiritualists and xenophobes. They're evangelizing zealots. I mean, of all the people for us to find, we found the one set of people who shares our values, which is truly incredible. We found another Yuth artifact, which is very exciting. I believe you need to find 7. Let me double check the situation log. You need to find 6. If you find 6 precursor artifacts, you can unlock their homeworld. At least I think it's their homeworld. I don't remember. Awesome. So we've unlocked the blue laser, which should allow us to upgrade our ships. I'm also going to grab myself basic combat rolls to further upgrade our ships. And we actually finished a society tech as well. So we have planetary unification, which is going to boost our unity. Now, in order to be able to adopt the psionic ascension, I believe we need to have completed 3 unity tradition trees. So we need to start thinking about how we get more unity. I'm going to activate the Fear campaign, which will give us plus 10 monthly unity, but also increase the xenophobe ethics attraction. I don't need the leader experience. The population consumer goods upkeep would be nice, but I'm just going to go for the Fear campaign. Now, Dag Zane has reached his veteran level, and he's a really good explorer, so I'm going to take this explorer on him. Let's add some blue lasers to our interceptors, and we'll go ahead and save that. And now, in theory, we'll only need 17 ships to reach our potential, which we should be able to do now. So we'll start upgrading them. I like Final Benediction as a Emperor or a High Inquisitor, so I'm going to go ahead and just pay the money to elect him and keep him in place. Yonder Blender is also a fantastic explorer, so I'm going to give him that as well. So now we're going to be able to grab the final expansion tradition here, which is going to be the Starbase upkeep minus 20%. That's going to save us a lot of energy over the course of the game. So I'll go ahead and pick that up, and hopefully our energy will take over positive. Not quite, but it is helping. We can also pick a new Ascension perk. One Vision is really good for that 10% monthly unity, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that. That's going to help us reach our unity goals. We finally have the combat power that we need to destroy this asteroid, so I'm going to send my fleet to go ahead and rescue my scientist from the Cthulhuid. Now that we no longer need all of those alloys to build up a super fleet to save a scientist from an asteroid, I can finally start upgrading some more of my stations to boost my economy. And we have yet another really good explorer, so I'll get him the explorer veteran class and let him continue wandering the galaxy. All right, perfect. We're going to launch the evolving society agenda for the 40% unity boost. I'm going to begin researching psionic theory, and I'm going to do the mind over matter agenda, so it'll take 22 months for this to give us 25% of that. And so the combination of these two things working together should mean we get it in about 30 months, which is a pretty good amount of time. Now that we are through the early game goal of getting our research up to research psionic theory, we can begin a bit of a weird transition where we're actually going to transition back to archives so that we can get more unity from the existing city districts. This will exchange some of the jobs in here for more priest jobs, and these priest jobs are going to help us with stability and amenities and unity to get through the coming madness. All right, Bono Station has been completed. I'm going to get myself a couple of solar panel networks which will produce energy for us, as well as a hydroponics bay which will produce food, meaning I don't need as many population units assigned to those resource productions. And the false asteroid has been unearthed by our fleet, and if I remember correctly, the Cthulhuids do not have shields, so you want to have weapons that are very good against armor and hull, which lasers are, so I think it worked out perfectly. So we should pretty much blast him before we lose a single ship. It looks like we lost only one. Now the guy that we saved has the Cthulhuid victim trait, which is unfortunate, so he won't live as long as he should, but now that he has been restored, we have too many scientists, so I'm going to fire my current head of research, because I don't need him anymore, and then instead we'll put the guy that we just saved into that position. Unfortunately, he won't live quite as long as he would have. He would have lived to 80, but now he should live less, although he might have the thing. If he has a boost to his lifespan, he might actually be fine. I don't remember if he does. Yeah, he does, so it's basically not going to affect him, so he's totally fine. I'm just going to tell him to do whatever he feels like. He can do anything he wants. Just get yourself some experience. First of all, we will research that Cthulhuid remain, though. So now that we have Ripagur Prime up to a reasonable level to where it's self-sustaining, and I mean, it's only just barely eating too much food, I'm going to start building a Bonos Prime as well. And basically the idea is any spare civilians from these planets will move over to Bonos. And the reason that we do it this way is because it has to do with population growth. Basically, the more population, the less population a world has, the slower it grows up to a point. And so you want to get your population to around about 1,500 to start hitting a nice point in the logistic growth curve. Ideally, it would actually be a little bit more. You can see here I'm actually getting 7 pops in my capital, but around about here is where you hit a nice level, around about 1,000 to 1,500 if you have a planet that's empty. And then you want to start building up the other planet that's empty. Because if your planet is below, I think it's 1,000 or 500, whatever, if it's below a certain amount, it's going to grow really slowly. So you can see this planet is growing really, really slowly. And remember, population are one of the most important things for developing our economy. So if we have a planet that's producing population really slowly, we want to get population to that planet through migration to improve the rate at which it grows, thus improving the rate at which my entire empire grows. And so we build districts on here, like generator districts, mining districts, agriculture districts, whatever, for the express purpose of providing jobs and housing that will encourage people to migrate here, thus improving our population growth globally, or rather, universally. So that's kind of why we do it that way. So brilliant, we just converted our capital back over to being an archive. This will significantly drop the amount of science that we produce, but now we're making 250 unity per month, which is a very, very nice amount of unity. And we're going to continue to develop the capital economy by building lots of city districts. We can grab ourselves another unity tradition. Now, I believe in order to research psionics, we have to have the psionic theory technology. But I think you also have to have a, well, maybe you don't need the I'm not sure. Regardless, we can pick our next tradition. And there's actually a few really good decisions here. One of them is prosperity. I love prosperity. It actually combos really well with discovery and expansion. Discovery helps you find a lot of land. Expansion helps you expand into a lot of land. And then prosperity gives you a mining station output from all that land that you have. In addition to that, you'll get stuff like cheaper planetary infrastructure, more resources from jobs, less job upkeep. Remember, imagine if you could get 5% more money for 5% less work, okay? Imagine if you were working a 40-hour work week, right? And somebody said, hey, I'll offer you and you're getting $400, right? You're getting $10 an hour, right? It's not a great job, but it's good. It's easy for the maths. That's why I chose that, right? And somebody said to you, hey, do you want to work a 38-hour week for $400? Would you rather work 40 hours for 400 or 38 for 400? The choice is obvious, dude. That's like an extra 50 cents per hour that you worked. And when you're making $10, that's not bad. You know what I mean? Now imagine if somebody, and then another guy came to you, right? And you combined both of these bonuses. Imagine if somebody came to you and said, hey, I'll let you work 38 hours for $420, right? Now, this is just all about comparison. 40 for 400 or 38 for 420. That's obviously a much better deal. I just picked those numbers to make it the maths easy, right? Now you're talking like, that's $11.05 an hour. Considering you started off getting $10 an hour, that's not a bad deal. So that's why these two things alone are super, super good. But then you add like upkeep reductions, or infrastructure build speed and price reductions. Prosperity ends up being really, really strong. Another really sick one, if you're going for a unity build, is actually harmony, because it has a pop upkeep reduction, it has leader lifespan, empire size from population, edict funds, which effectively are unity, governing ethics and prime. You've got stability and ascension cost, and then you've got better ascension effects. So if you want to ascend your colonies, harmony is really good, and unity tends to be good at ascending stuff. I'm also a really big fan of aptitude because it just makes your leaders crazy, right? You've got additional leader trait options, you've got more leader capacity, cheaper leaders, etc., 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 etc. Super, super good. Plus leadership conditioning is really strong for buffing up your leaders. Aptitude is sick. Another really good one is domination, in particular because of the unity produced per enforcer. This is really good for psionic builds. Also the worker pop output means that you need less workers to support your specialists, basically. It's also got that nice empire size from POPs reduction, which is really useful. I'm going to go with prosperity though. I think it works best with the discovery and expansion openers, and then we can look at those other ones when we get to our later traditions. Prosperity is just a really, really good all-around tradition. It just does it's just a really good general boost for your empire. Okay, so we're 84 months from finishing psionic theory. If I come in here and I click mind over matter, we'll get 25% of the text progress, meaning we will now be 30 months away. So a little bit slower than I had anticipated, but still pretty damn good. Now, since our happiness is starting to get a little bit of to a problematic point, I'm going to grab myself higher purpose. This is going to improve my citizen happiness, as well as get me a small boost to my unity. Sick. We just finished researching basic combat roles, which is going to make our ships better at fighting. I wouldn't mind getting global energy management, but I think I'm going to go for the fusion reactor. I want to double check if I have any edicts that I could pass. No, I don't think we do. Yeah, no, we're good. Assembly patterns is complete, so we're going to build our infrastructure faster, as well as getting access to the automation building. I don't really like to use automation buildings, mostly because I don't fully understand what they are or how they work. So I'm just like, the scary thing I don't understand. Let's grab powered exoskeletons, mainly for that 5% worker output. That's going to, again, every little bit of output we can eke out of our population means that we need less population to maintain our economy. Looks like we met the Farine Cooperative and they've closed their borders with us. Not really a problem for me. Right, so let's go ahead and grab administrative operations. That's going to reduce... Well, actually, I'm going to go for the standard construction templates, STCs, because that's going to make it a lot cheaper to build buildings. You can see here the city district now only costs 450 minerals to build, which is very useful. So Nis Flatline has leveled up. He got the altered metabolism. That's really cool. Now, he's got archaeology and anomaly research, so he would make a great scholar. Oh, there's Belgium. I never even noticed that Belgium was there. Psionic theory has been researched, giving us -10 empire size from POPs. However, it has also activated a realm of madness. Research into the recently discovered field of psionics has confirmed the existence of hitherto unseen dimensions of reality, to which our minds are the gateway. Beyond this veil lies a realm of chaos we struggle to understand. From within the depths, a voice beckons. Its promise is not of salvation, but of a new beginning. To wield its unknowable power would be to abandon all we were, and to forge a fate inscribed in the fabric of madness itself.
It is time.
What have we done? So now we're going to get access to the psionics traditions tree. We're going to get access to the madness modifier, which is going to lower our stability by 15%, increase our population upkeep both in terms of food and consumer goods, as well as amenities by 20 and 25% respectively. However, we can build the Chamber of Silence to reduce the negative effects of this madness. So the next thing that we're going to be doing is unlocking the psionics tree. We're going to need some unity here. So this is psionic theory. It is completed. I'm going to grab myself doctrine fleet support, mainly because I now have 2 neighbors. So we may want to start thinking about increasing the size of our fleet. Just to be a little bit scarier to our neighbors so that they don't get ideas about, attacking us or whatever. So our economy is going to take a bit of a hit here, in particular on the consumer goods end. So I'm going to stop buying these, and instead I'm going to buy some consumer goods. I'm also going to come over to Bonos Prime, which is still in the process of expanding its population. And I will build myself a civilian industry here to fuel our consumer goods. Let's go ahead and downgrade an agricultural district in Sectoria. We'll need to stop selling quite as much food. Oh, I was accidentally selling consumer goods, not buying them. Whoopsies. But by downgrading that farm, we'll free up 200 more population to either work priest jobs or scientist jobs, or to go off into the universe and, take part in our other cities. So let's go ahead and keep building up our districts. So we can choose a new unity tradition. Let's immediately get underway researching or grabbing the psionics tradition. And we're going to start founding our species as a psionic species. The psionic ascension is begun. We have been called to higher levels of existence. Those among us who clung to the fruitless resistance are being purged to preserve the sanctity of our ascension. Our fate is sealed. The way behind us has crumbled into the shadow of the shrouded world. The voice speaks to us now with compelling clarity.
The path is set.
It longs for willing sacrifice. It is inevitable. So each colony is going to lose 1 to 300 pops, which is painful, but we are going to get access to the latent psionic ability. So now if we go and take a look at our population, they have access to the latent psionic, which gives them a 5% boost to researcher, bureaucrat, and telepath jobs. Very useful. In addition, we have access to the new psionic ascension situation, which, by the way, is new to this DLC, the link of which is in the description of the video if you would also like to play this. That's right, I'm a good little pay pig. I'm gonna promote the game. I like it. So we have 3 approaches that we can take to the psionic ascension. We can watch and wait, which is a sort of passive approach to this. We can blind the willing, which would effectively double the rate at which we would fulfill this, which would add the blind trait to 100 pops per month. Now, being blind will reduce your job efficiency by 50%, but you do get a boost if you're a priest, and you'll also be happier. That's a pretty big penalty, 50% job efficiency. The other alternative we have is to forsake the flesh, where we lose 25 pops per month. And so, now we're going to enter in what I like to call the managed decline. We are going to intentionally hurt our empire for a massive amount of unity and throw. And we are going to forsake flesh, a leap of faith. Frustrated by the limitations of our flesh, Nitro Flux has sought to accelerate his psionic transformation by imbibing a lethal toxin in a dramatic public display. As he expired, his body was consumed by a vivid purple hue and disintegrated into a fine dust of pure psionic energy. Such miracles become possible through the will of the voice. We have taken this as a clear sign. Where Nitro Flux led, others must follow. Our physical form cannot hold us back. So Commander Nitro Flux will die. We will get 1500 unity and 700 throw. That is one of my leaders actually gone, and that was the commander of my fleets. He was counted as a great leader, so we'll just do a chat for his soul. That'll get us a 15% monthly unity buff, as well as a 15% consumer goods upkeep buff. We will have to recruit another one. I'll take the commander here, that's fine. It's kind of a couple of other things we need to do. I need to get a new Minister of Defense, which is this guy, and we're going to go ahead and unlock the Cult of the Voice tradition. This is going to give us access to the Chamber of Silence. And how the Chamber of Silence works is it reduces the negative effects of paranoia and madness by 10% for everyone that we build, and it'll also give us a boost to stability. So we're going to go ahead and grab the Cult of the Voice, boom, and then we're going to go to Sectoria and immediately replace the medical center with the Chamber of Silence. And we're going to put that to the top of the build queue because we need it as soon as possible in order to finish our psionic ascension. So as it currently stands, we have 7,100 population of the sectoid species, and our economy is going to start having some problems as the population reduces. We just finished researching the fusion reactor. That's going to buff up our ships a little bit. I would like to research FTL inhibition is actually really important for long-term defense of your empire, so I'll grab that. In terms of engineering research, we just finished powered exoskeleton, so let's have a look at what we can grab in here. Mineral purification, mineral extraction, fusion missiles. I think if I'm going to go for anything here, I will go for mineral purification because it will allow us to buff up our empire's productivity a little bit. We're making 600 unity per month. That is disgustingly strong, but we're saving all of our unity so that we can do a psionic rush here. So Nis Fable has leveled up, and we have the choice between making them an excavator, which will give them archaeology skill, or a salvager, which will make them better at salvaging ships. I am going to make them an excavator so they're good at the archaeology. In fact, I think right now they're doing fossilized grenades. Someone else is working on the rubricator. We'll have to fight a dragon for that. Reports of lobotomies. Some sectoids are struggling to live in harmony with the presence of
the voice.
Desperate for peace, the weakest among us have resorted to crude and unregulated lobotomy procedures. Such practice threatened to become widespread if no action is taken. So we can either let the weak do what they must, which will lower the psionic ascension situation by 50, effectively meaning it'll take 2.5 more months, or we can advance it and lose some resources from jobs. I like the idea of advancing it. I'm going to ban the practice of self-lobotomy. This is going to make our economy even worse. All right, let's get ourselves another starport. I need to upgrade another starbase so that I can get more economic resources from my starbases. Psionic self-experimentation. We continue to embrace the voice. It speaks plain truths to us that cannot be denied. Many sectoids are seeking further ways to amplify the voice and benefit from its wisdom more directly. The use of black market drugs has increased dramatically. Unregulated medical facilities are offering experimental services to help individuals maximize their psionic sensitivity. Where will this lead us? So we can either say, prevent total anarchy, which would give us a resource boost from telepaths for 10 years, but increase their upkeep. Or we can say, do all that we can to bring forth the voice, which would advance the situation by 50 and give us a society research boost for 10 years, but lower our stability and pop upkeep. I'm going to go ahead and we're embracing the voice, bro. We're embracing it.
Listen to the voices. Listen to them.
So we built a Chamber of Silence on Sectoria. I'm going to want another 1,000 minerals if I can get them, because we're going to want a Chamber of the Voice on all of our worlds to lower the penalties from madness. If we go to our government, sorry, is it here? Yeah, paranoia is already at minus 27.1. We have reduced that a little bit, and madness is really bad as well. So yeah, we're taking the next 5 years are going to be economically difficult. It's going to be one of the few times when you're playing Stellaris when all of your numbers are going to start going negatively, intentionally. It's normally not how you want to play the game. Establishing the Chamber of Silence. As our psionic mastery grows, we are bombarded by a tangle of whispers from beyond the veil. The voice, louder and clearer than ever before, spirals its way through these currents of thought and into the shadows of our mind.
Open the way.
We must filter through this noise. We have constructed an insulated facility where our most psionically gifted individuals will be able to listen to the instructions of the voice in blissful clarity. Our minds are open ever wider. This is going to allow us to progress from the first phase of the psionic ascension to the second stage. In addition to that, by completing the first phase, we can now start undergoing the Great Awakening. This will unlock stage 3, and when we get to stage 3, all of our latent psionic species will unlock their full psionic potential. We're also going to grab ourselves telekinesis. This will speed up the situation by 5%, but more importantly, it'll get a psionic pop habitability, which will be really nice. We want to fully fill out the psionic tree eventually. So we found a familiar shrine. I forget what the Shrines to the Old Gods event does. Let me look that up. Rather than I'm already spiritualist, so I'm just going to... you know what? Let's go looking. Maybe we'll get some unity out of it. Alrighty, let's go ahead and launch the higher purpose agenda, which is going to boost our unity and happiness. I'm also going to go for... where is it? Oh, I don't have the happiness one hasn't come back yet. I'm going to go for psionic supremacy. Oh wait, no. Do I have any more happiness to get me through here? Here's some pop growth speed, which will help recover from the sheer number of pops we're losing. We're already down to 6.8 thousand. We've lost 300 pops in this process, and we're down serious on energy. We finished Doctrine Fleet support, so we can get some more naval capacity. I am going to begin... The Ancient Refinery would be sick. It pretty much takes care of all of our strategic technology or strategic resource requirements. But we don't need that just yet, because we don't actually have a need for those apocalyptic nightmares. As our psionic abilities have grown, the sectoid population has become plagued by horrifying nightmares foreshadowing the end of the universe. Our dreams have become apocalyptic prophecies, intensifying the existential dread felt among our people. Sleep has given way to unquiet stupor, with many unable to carry on their normal daily routines. In these dreams, the voice speaks to us.
Embrace entropy.
All beginnings must have an end. So we can increase our pop upkeep and lower our happiness to get more resources from telepaths, or we can recede for the opposite. I'm going to say all beginnings must have an end. I'll take all the penalties. It looks like we just got a new breakthrough on Carino 4. Excellent. So we just got access to a new insight technology. Bonus Prime has low stability, which, I mean, that's a problem we are going to have to eventually tackle. Now that we got the insight technology from observing these guys, Which one was it, I wonder? Yeah, Xenoaesthetics. Now that we have that, I'm going to go ahead and invade them because I got what I wanted from them. I'm going to invade them and enslave them. Double check. Oh, no, we won't be able to beat their armies. Hold on. We actually need, because they advanced in technology, we'll need another couple of armies. Ooh, Final Benediction actually got a great ability here. Minus 10% planetary infrastructure cost. And this is an empire-wide bonus, as well as a 15% building speed increase. That's an amazing ability. All right, we're about to run out of minerals. Our empire is in low stability. Ahead of research, archaeo studies or military theory. Let's go with archaeo studies. That sounds like fun. Let's clear our incomes and see what shakes out. All right, a new tradition is available. I'm going to grab clairvoyance. It's another 5% on the situation speed. More importantly, psionic commanders will have +1 range. We'll have higher intel, code breaking and encryption, meaning we have better espionage against our enemies, and we're one step closer to taking psychometry, however you say this, but we're almost finished with the psionics tree. Really, really close. So one of the best things we can do here is probably reduce our scientific output by about half. That'll free up a lot of population to work some other jobs. The Great Awakening. In the Chamber of Silence, we hear the message of the voice with perfect clarity.
All will be reborn.
We understand now. The end is a rebirth. We must not fear it. We will be remade, better and more powerful than we ever imagined we could be. To seize this destiny, we must learn to master the mental realm known as the Shroud. We will not repeat the mistakes of those we found on the Shrouded world. Where they rejected their fear, we will embrace it. Our vision is fully clear. So this is the stage 3 of the psionic ascension. All our latent psionic species will unlock their full psionic potential, and we can psionically assimilate other species. And so now, all of our leaders have gained the psychic trait, and depending on the type of leader that you are, that has a different effect. So for example, for commanders it gives unity and better weapon damage, shield hardening. For governors it gives unity and federation boosts. And for scientists, it gives survey speed, discovery chance, and unity. So very unity focused. Okay, this starbase, we are going to need a couple solar panels and a hydroponics bay to try to sustain ourselves. Sal Circuit, who is my administrative coordinator, has leveled up. He is governing a world, but he's also an advisor, so that 5% pop-up keep could be really useful for us right here. I'm going to proclaim a religious revelation to get 5,000 unity, and I'll do another artifact analysis because we just have so many artifacts. And so there is the unity we need to finish off the psionic tree. It's going to be another 5% boost to the situation. More importantly, it's going to reduce the crime from telepaths. Our psionic specialists are going to get more output. Our galactic history specimens are going to get more output. We'll talk about that if we ever build the Grand Archive. And then we're going to get that 10% empire size effect. Now, empire size effect is different from empire size. Basically, it applies after all the things that reduce empire size apply. So it's an extra layer of brilliance. Now, let's have a look here. So we can pick up a few different things here. I'm a really big fan of things that reduce your empire size. So Imperial Prerogative is a lot of fun. I also really like Grasp the Void. Galactic Force Projection is like super powerful because of the naval capacity and the fleet limit. Where's the one? Is it Interstellar Dominion? Yeah, this one. Look at that. Starbase influence cost, claim influence cost, lower system, empire system size. Where am I getting most of my empire size from right now? Right now it's mostly coming from colonies, so it could be good if we picked up Imperial Prerogative for that 50% empire size from planets. That could be really good. So now we're down below 100 empire size, meaning we're not getting any penalties, which is fantastic. So far I'm getting away with the AI not attacking me. I'm getting away with murder, honestly. Mark of the End. There is a growing trend of self-mutilation among the populace. Extremely devout followers of the voice have been branding their flesh with the symbol of the end. They proclaim that these designs bestow a terrible blessing upon those who bear them. Whether true or not, the number of practitioners engaged in such rituals is increasing rapidly. Is this truly the will of the Shroud? We bear this mark with pride. This is going to give us the marked trait. This will lower the amount of health that our armies have, but it will increase the amount of morale damage they do, and all of our population is going to produce a small amount of unity. We can't pick this other one. This other one is actually really, really strong, but because we took Forsake the Flesh, like this, the Sanity Amid Madness is really good, but bearing the mark with pride is also awesome. And here it is, 30 years into the game, we have breached the Shroud. After days of being locked in a hypnotic trance, we have finally managed to open a brief gateway into the Shroud. Now, we can see this realm with greater clarity, resolving patterns from the swirling mass. From within its formless depths arises an ominous entity of immeasurable power. It is the Voice, and it pierces our innermost psyches with a shuddering force.
Know my name.
Only now do we sense how truly distant our small minds are from the Voice. The seal is fractured, and soon the full breadth of what we are shall be made manifest. Our telepaths are now prepared to delve into the heart of the Shroud and discover the true name of our great patron. It is time to commune. So we fully realized our psionic potential. We mastered dimensions beyond ordinary comprehension. So this is where we get to start playing around with the Shroud. We are not allowed to delve, but we have just breached the Shroud, activating delving, and so now we can start exploring the Shroud to find out more. Let us delve into the Shroud. The trial of silence. We descend into the Shroud, our unified will helping to silence the chaotic noise that would distract us from our goal, the boundless one. But purpose alone cannot shield us. Voices whisper empty platitudes, indulging us with paltry distractions, each more meaningless than the last, but all equally tempting. As we begin to fracture, the entity returns. A single command reverberates through the void.
Silence.
Fall silent and endure. This command cleaves through the chaos, scouring the discordant noise, purging the obtrusive disorder that sought to consume us. Our psyche holds as we endure fragmentation. The boundless one recedes further into the Shroud. The clarity that follows us is almost as deafening. It settles into the gaps of our minds, leaving us with newfound resolve. And gifts, such wonderful gifts. And so when we leave here, the negative penalty from madness will be reduced. Our population will no longer use increased amenities. And this is going to be the beginning of the recovery of our economy. So if we take a look at our species here, over the course of this situation, we lost about 600 to 700 population, which is pretty damn rough, considering we probably should have grown by about 200 to 300 over that time. So instead we're effectively down like 1,000 pops, which is devastatingly harsh on our economy. But we're coming out of it with one really big advantage, and that is the Shroud. We have the Shroud on our side. Now we are still dealing with paranoia, and we are still dealing with madness, but the whispers are growing more silent, the paranoia receding and integrating into our essence. Those who embrace the Shroud learn to love it. All right, where are my extra armies? Let's go ahead and merge these together now. Elder Gabalf Kritson, fellow travelers. This is the psionic order of the Shroud. Interesting. So we've actually made contact with a Shroud enclave. Let's have a look here and see if we can reach out to them. This is the Shroud Walker Conclave. Now these guys are all the way over here up in Getty, which is all the way up here. So what is to be our fate? If we pay influence and energy, they will let us know about our fate. We can get a teacher from their order, which would allow us to get the Shroud Walker teacher, which would, make delving into the Shroud cheaper and give us monthly unity. I definitely want to do this, but I need to wait until my economy recovers before I don't know why these little flashies are here. I don't know what makes them appear. We found another one of these angry asteroid boys. I'm going to go ahead and colonize this orbital habitat with my marked population. Okay, we're going to grab administrative operations in the prosperity tree now. That will reduce our infrastructure upkeep by 10%. That should save us a lot of energy over the course of the game. We've also finished adaptive bureaucracy. We've got a lot of prepped text to finish here. Is it time to build the Grand Archive? I don't think it is. I think it would be good for us to grab ground defense planning. We will eventually be getting some soldiers to boost up our naval capacity. Okay. So the Farine Cooperative has declared war on us. This is a theocratic republic, and they seek to subjugate us. Now that is a nice crisis for us to run into. They have a pretty beefy fleet. My hope is that I will be able to buff up my fleet Let me have a look. Can I take a peek at this fleet? What do they have in terms of stats? These are transport ships. They've mostly shields. They attacked while we were weak, which is a great time to attack. We could grab some claims. Can I afford all these claims? I could afford some claims. Maybe we can counterattack. We'll take an ambitious approach here. We'll go for conquer as our thing, and we can grab this sector. We are going to be going into our government, and we are going to be setting a economic policy to a militarized economy. We're going to be focusing on alloys. So we are going to have a consumer goods shortage. I'm going to cut even more scientists. Now they're already on the attack. Well, they chose the right time to strike because we are super not prepared for this. God damn it, these guys keep getting stronger. Every time I go to invade them, they have more army. But I haven't been able to conquer them just yet. So there's mineral purification. It would be good if we got destroyers. It probably won't get here in time for the changing the war. Let me see here. I mean, if we can't hold them at our capital, we may as well surrender. If we become their vassal, that's fine. Oh, sick. We just got construction templates. So empire size from districts is reduced. We build faster. And optimization building. Nice. I don't know if we're going to be able to do this, guys. They're only 2 jumps away from our capital, and our economy is only beginning to recover. Well, they chose a different path than I expected them to, which might actually work in our favor. Now, I do need to hide this scientist over here, so you don't get caught when they enter the system. Attacking my star bases. Let's sell all of our food. Start buying as many minerals as we can, or many alloys as we can. Okay, here we go. Some pop growth, stability, etc. from strong on our own. That's going to help us out. Mind over matter will help us with telepathy. I'm going to go for the favorite society for the specialist resource output. That'll help us get a little bit more alloys. Okay, new tradition available. I'm going to go for lowered upkeep from jobs so that we consume less resources. And it looks like we found an ether drake over here in Alpheka. Looks like they're bombarding Bonos Prime, which might leave an opportunity for us to cut off this smaller fleet. Now we can get a combat computer here. So we're going up against heavily evasive enemies. We have 50% tracking. The enemy is likely to have 60% evasion as well. So an extra 10 tracking would pretty much eliminate their tracking capability. So if we went for Picket, that would be really strong actually. Let's save this. And instead of that, we're going to actually just upgrade these guys to squeeze out a tiny bit of combat power. They're almost entirely corvettes as far as I can tell, which means they're going to be evasion based on the defense. We now have planetary FTL inhibitors. It would be good to get improved deflectors. Let's go for food processing as well. Just trying to improve our economy. I'm not really talking about in-depth stuff. I'm just kind of making decisions on the fly here while we try to get up to a point that we can defend more fleets on way. They're mostly using mass drivers and nuclear missiles, which honestly, if I recall correctly, they basically ignore shields. So what if we just went all armor? So if we can get ourselves upgraded in time to fight them, that'd be good. We're able to access the Shroud. Let's go ahead and delve into the Shroud in the midst of a war on the trial of purity. As we delve into the Shroud, we observe a corruption of sentient chaos. Festering idle minds generate layers of psionic turbulence, polluting the Shroud with fetid rot. Within this odious mess, we begin to feel the overwhelming presence of our quarry, the Boundless One. The malice of its intentions saturates our psyche as it bears down upon the chaos. We brace for the impending absolution as a command resonates through the void.
Order. Unity.
So we withstood its trial. The command courses through the malignant chaos. Innumerable voices cry out in pain as the Boundless One washes away the sentient deformations plaguing the Shroud. A realm of absolved imperfections remains in its wake. As the entity submerges itself deeper within the Shroud, we are left to observe and study the aftermath of its absolute purification. So this is going to reduce the population upkeep penalty. So we're no longer having to pay extra upkeep for our pops, which honestly makes me really happy because that's a rough one. We won't be able to delve for another little while, but that's okay. We're 10 ships away from hitting the maximum power that we can potentially hit here. They're sitting here with their ships. Is now the right time? Now might be the right time to strike when their secondary fleet is isolated. We will have to fight this starbase. It has a lot of health, but not a lot of damage. I prefer to wait for the full power of our fleet. I'm going to see if I can hunt down the smaller enemy fleet and get a free kill on them.
Our forces engage the enemy.
Perfect obliteration. We killed 2 of 9. We lost none. Now let's return to our starbase. Actually, we could go fight these guys right on the edge of this gravity well, which would be the perfect moment to attack them because they won't have the support of the starbase. So in theory, our build should counter their build, meaning we killed 7 of their corvettes to lose 1. Let's start recapturing starbases. I'm going to grab Prosperity Tradition, the Pursuit of Profit. That's going to be extra resources from jobs. A station will be a fight. We lost 4 corvettes. That was an expensive counterattack. Damn, stations are hard to kill. Let's go get repaired real quick. One of their fleets is already en route back. We're in the process of repair. There's food processing. Let's get the Fleet Academy and Naval Logistics Office upgrade. My economy is starting to recover to where we actually have a few civilians knocking around, but we absolutely cannot allow them to carve out a chunk of our empire. Right, let's go to Hithara and then Jarad to see if we can cut off this expeditionary fleet. My hope is that through the process of retaking our systems, we can knock down their fleet power to the level where they will consider us stronger than them. Let's pop Favored Society. That's going to boost our resources from jobs in our capital. I'm going to grab Infinite Opportunities because I need that Citizen Pop Happiness to improve my stability so that I can recover. They're attacking G. That's okay. So we're counterattacking. We're about to engage them. Now remember, we counter them directly. They did switch their weapons. No, they didn't. We're still countering them hard. It's important that we recapture this colony. So that's going to be our priority now. It's occupied, which means we need to build a couple of armies. If we can recapture this, I think that will put us where we need to be on the war front. But we will not be accepting peace. Final Benediction is going to get elected again. He's been doing a great job, so I'll have him stay. Tough fight here. Goddamn, Void Worm just appeared at the worst possible time.
Our spaceport is under siege.
We need to get back here to deal with this Void Worm. All right, let's pierce the Shroud again. Delve in. The Trial of Flames. Entering the Shroud, we know only pain. The usual swirling psionic mists are an inferno, igniting the very essence of our minds. Through the torment, we perceive cities crumbling into molten ruin, planets devoured by fire, entire populations writhing in agony as spectral flames reduce their corporeal forms to smoldering ash. At the center of the pyre, we detect the presence of the Boundless One. As its power threatens to consume reality, the entity decrees
Liberation.
submit to the absolution. The psionic flames engulf our minds, burning away complacency, leaving only a purified resolve. Now we can see the glorious purpose of the Boundless One and the magnificent simplicity it offers. Leave. So we lose the madness modifier, which is great, and now the Shroud speaks to us. The Covenant has been formed.
You know my name.
A declaration rings out. The culmination of our voyage to the stars, the answer to centuries of questions, is here. The end of the cycle compels us. Our covenant is formed.
The end begins.
Pain, writhing, certainty. As the words fade, our fate is sealed. We see it now. A galaxy rendered silent, saturated in the inevitability of the aura of the end. Inevitability awaits. So we will gain the psionic aura technology, which increases our success chance when we're delving into the void. We also get psionic aura intensification, which also increases our success chance when delving and gives us access to psionic aura growth and spread. We also get the situation the end of the cycle, and we will form a covenant with the end of the cycle. Oh, I've never done this before. I've heard of the end of the cycle before. So we get 100% naval capacity, 10 starbase capacity, plus 5 monthly influence. We lose the paranoia modifier, embracing the end modifier added. We gain war exhaustion slower, and we have a big buff to our sublight speed in any psionic aura.
Our knowledge
Ooh.
expands.
So every month we gain 1 point of the end of the cycle, and we need 600 points to reach the end, which means that is 50 years approximately, if I've done my math right. Okay, sick. Oh, so we have a bunch of different covenant powers. So Aura of the End. This lowers our ship upkeep, gives us research station, mining station, and resources. Oh, wow. Enemy ships. Oh, Dude, that is sick. I embrace the cycle of rebirth. Our patron's inevitable will tightens its grip over the galaxy. We know now how the end will come. The aura of the end must be spread throughout the galaxy. Once the physical realm combines with this raw essence of the Shroud, the true annihilation will shortly follow. Completing this monumental task will be our magnum opus and the gateway to ultimate salvation. So we gain a bunch of this. There's psionic auras, sick, psionic aura intensification, as well as destroyers. I can grab Public Works Division to finish Prosperity, boom, which will get us an extra bunch of resources from orbital stations, as well as extra housing. We can pick another Ascension perk. Galactic Force Projection is always a fan favorite. I love that one. I do like Interstellar Dominion, allowing me to claim a bunch of worlds. Let's grab Interstellar Dominion, that's more empire size reduced, and we can also claim a whole bunch more territory. I am going to research better destroyer hit points. I also got improved deflectors, not that we're using deflectors. Disruptors are awesome, but advanced orbital maneuvers, that would give us sublight speed. I do like that. I need to deal with this damn void worm. It killed 3 of my Corvettes. Let's rebuild and get healed up. You guys go get repaired. Where are my... I think he killed all of my assault armies. So I need to build 8 new ones. We're making an insane amount of resources. Let me go ahead and cancel all my buy and sell orders. My Minister of Defense is leveled up. I'll make him a strategist so he builds ships faster. I need to create a new fleet, this time with destroyers. I'll just like put 20 destroyers in here. And the purpose of the destroyer is to provide a screen. If I remember correctly, my enemies use missiles, so a point defense should be a very, very useful way to cripple their capabilities. Now let's start building that fleet to be used to recapture territory. They're begging for peace, but I refuse, not while they hold a planet. I do not want a vassal to be spun out of my empire, so we're going to immediately be moving to recapture that. So let's set up our trades. The maximum amount of alloys you can buy is 10, so I want to start buying that immediately. And then I need to sell some resources. I'll sell 21 energy. I can actually sell the full 64 food comfortably. Now we're even on trade. We make way too many consumer goods. We'll need to reshape our economy. So on Ripagaur Prime, I miss when these things had actual colors because it's way harder for me to tell which button is which now. But we're going to build some heavy industry here for the purpose of upping our alloy production, because alloy production is going to be our main bottleneck for fighting. All right, let's drop some more claims on these guys since we have so much influence production. So here's our psionic aura. Its intensity is high. When the aura of the end fills the galaxy, the Grey Chorus wins the game. There's no limit to how far the aura of the end can spread. Dude, this is like we've become like this crisis. Okay, let's delve into the Shroud. The void is voiceless. Everything is gone. Oh, there's nothing there. Okay, we need to get to Bonos. I'm waiting for my transport fleets to finish construction. 1 whole year has already passed. Okay, they have a fleet over here. That's a very strong fleet. I think my fleet is still stronger. Let's go intercept these guys. First, we'll head to Ebtrapan A. I'm going to send my troops to go land. It's about 200 combat power against 120 combat power. We should be able to capture that. They're coming to fight us with 70 Corvettes. We do have a station. It's a little bit weak, but the station will help and we'll be able to get a little bit of repairs in. We still counter them, as far as I remember. We can unlock a new tradition. I do think that supremacy is a good tradition here. Army damage, naval capacity, all that good stuff is really going to help us as we prepare to be, you know, the end of the cycle. Okay, we're going to demolish this civilian industry. The heavy industry is good. We'll start building some alloy foundries. And this will be a forge world for sure. And I would like to ascend it as well. So rather than chasing these guys down, I'm going to go on the offensive and try to occupy systems that I have claims on. Looks like they came back for a fight, but they caught a couple of our reinforcements. Oh, this is a closer fight than I would like. No. Wow, they really lost nothing? That's frustrating. Yeah, if we settle status quo right now, nothing would change hands, which is not good enough. I need something to change hands.
A voice reaches out.
So they want peace. I'm gonna reject that peace. We did manage to invade Bonos Prime, so let's start upgrading it. So in 24 months, we will be forced to make peace. in that time, we might be able to grab a few systems off them. If I get 4 systems out of this war, considering this war was looking like it was going to be a total and complete defeat, I'm cool with that, man. Let's launch our infinite opportunities agenda, which is going to boost our happiness, which is going to boost our average resource output. I'm going to go for psionic supremacy now. That's going to give us job efficiency and patron attunement. Just need to capture Norberg. Perfect. So now if we settle the status quo, we will steal 4 planets from them. We accept this for now. I really don't know why these little blinkies are happening, and I wish I could turn them off. How do I turn off the blinkies? Oh god. Oh my god. I figured it out. They were driving me crazy, dude. So our plan is to get to Carino. In Carino, we're going to build a starport. I'm also going to go ahead and grab my transport fleet to finally annex Carino 4. Let's ascend this planet. Ascending it will make the Forge World specialization more effective, so it uses even less minerals to produce the same amount of alloys. All right, let's claim the systems of the Sacrosanct Sect Locaran Order. And I'm also going to build a starport in Norberg so that we can start producing ships over there. We just finished researching advanced orbital maneuvers. We need to think about how we can... better hyperdrives would allow us to get around the galaxy faster, so that's going to be an important one. We've just got another supremacy tradition. Ship fire rate is going to really help us win combat, so I'm going to grab overwhelming force here. And since we have a forge world, we need a world that will increase our military capacity. So I'm going to make Bonos Prime into a planetary defense world. This is going to get us a lot of military naval capacity. And naval capacity is going to be what we use to actually take planets from other people, so it's important. Dag Zane has died, so we'll chant for her soul. That'll get us some monthly unity. It's unfortunate. We'll have to recruit a new scientist. We met the Jonan Unified Nations, and actually I think we're reaching a point in the game where we're going to find a bunch of countries here. The great die-off begins. Our scientists are all dying. It is inevitable. It is just the beginning anew. Okay, finally in my capital, I feel like I can restore all these jobs. It will cause a little bit of economic instability, but that's fine. More importantly, I can buy 5,000 energy credits to bargain with the Shroud and use the creation power to create a Gaia world with 1,000 pops in our capital. Now, it'll take a while for that to recharge, but basically it just created a planet for us with 1,000 pops on it, which is going to be extremely useful. Oh, interesting. This has subterranean wildlife. Anyway, I think the plan is to offshore all energy production to fixed state. So we're going to change it over to being a generator world. That'll get us a 25% boost to resources from technicians. And what this means is we're not going to need energy jobs on other planets, which is a big deal. Plus, we have another planet that's producing population for us, because planets in this game are actually the thing that produces population. It's kind of weird the way that population works in the game. Okay, let's invade these guys for our claims. So our goal is to capture this sort of arm of their empire and then push in deeper if we can. I'm going to take the Great Game, which is going to give us extra damage against star bases, which will make conquering enemy systems easier. All right, let me go ahead and recruit a guy to be general of this army that I'm about to land. And we are invading these guys for the purpose of enlightening them about the end of the cycle. We've improved our destroyers. Let's upgrade our star holds. We will need places. The Farine Cooperative decided to join this war. That's annoying. Let's go seek out these guys. They have a lot of armor and no shields. Hopefully we can win this fight. We got annihilated. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. How did we lose so much and they lost nothing? Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. I guess this calls for a doctrine change. Okay, it's time to start deleting my generator districts across my empire, because I want them to only appear in a single place, and that's on this Gaia world. We lost our Minotaur of State. Oh, nothing wrong with getting another one. I've decided against the planetary defense world. Have I? Yeah. What if we instead... I could make it an industrial world with combined artisan and metallurgists. Probably better to make it a factory world, honestly. So I'm going to go ahead and completely change its specialization. And the reason that I want to do that is because if I produce enough resources, I can actually give myself an extra 5 years before annihilation happens. And I'm hoping that that works. I was not expecting to fight a two-front war right now. The good news is that Shroud is in a position that makes this a little bit easier for me. Never thought I would say thank goodness for the Shroud Dragon. Oh, sick! We found a renowned Paragon. He's the Apostle of the End. Plus 10 aura intensity per ship destroyed in the system, plus 50% jump drive range while in the Aura of the End. The jump drive has a lower cooldown. He does extra damage, extra speed, and fire rate. Holy crap, get me this guy right now. He's a wrecker, so he does a bunch of damage. Oh my god, he's got all the good traits. I need this guy in charge of my army like yesterday. Oh god, I had to go do something I had to go into the hospital and stuff like for a day. I was getting a colonoscopy. Highly recommend if you're over the age of 45. Go in, do it. It's actually completely fine. It's like super routine. You're in and out in like a day. I did it without sedation. It's a little bit uncomfortable, borderline painful without sedation, conscious sedation. They offered me fentanyl and I was like, you know what, buddy? I'll pass on the sedation. I just got Buscopan and I was good to go. But anyway, point being, I had no idea how bad things were here. Oh my god, what did I do in the last episode? Or not the last, like the last recording session. Jesus Christ, I think I torpedoed my safe. What have I done? Oh god. Mother of pearl. We definitely need this ship build speed from Master Shipwright so that we can rebuild our fleets a little bit faster. These guys are being upgraded. I think we're also desperately in need of a starhold. We need more ship spaceports for building starships. That much is for damn sure. I think right now my issue is that my starports, I don't think they can build stuff fast enough. Let's go ahead and have a look. Can I build a good defense platform? What are we up against in terms of enemy ships? So it looks like we're mostly up against medium and small ships. So hangar bays are going to be very, very effective against those. If we go into fleet management, ship design, and we install hangars here, the advantage of hangars, from what I remember, is they have really, really good tracking, so they're really good at shooting small ships, and pretty damn good engagement range, decent DPS, etc, etc, etc. So in the interest of protecting Dying Light, I'm going to spam out a few of these replicant class defense bases. So let me see here. The Aura of the End does 15 monthly hull damage to non-orbiting ships and lowers enemy stability by such and such percentage. There's another Yut artifact, although I'm kind of remit to really do anything with that because I'm terrified of what's going on here. I need a new scientist to be my counselor here. Leader experience gain is a pretty good one. So we'll take Zephyr Marrow. Dude, did you really have to get these terrible traits for being a counselor? Hold on. Yeah, we don't have good options there. It's fine. So what is my fleet doctrine here? Lasers and lasers. Lots of lasers. It's the best weapon I have, so I guess it makes sense. Alright, huge. We just got colonial centralization finished, so we can upgrade our capital world and all that sort of stuff. That's going to give us access to new things. I would like to get fleet supremacy. We also finished the starbase upgrade, so let's start upgrading the starbase in the capital. It's in the middle of building a defense platform, but that's fine. It'll get this done pretty quick. It's going to give us an extra 10,000 armor hit points for starbase modules. It's actually, I think, is it? Yeah, it's like it'll make it a lot better, basically. Let's go ahead and improve our metal armor. And we're in the process of building up our fleet. All right, we've shifted all of our energy production to fixed state here. Now what we could, oh, they updated the game. They added color here. That's awesome. What we could do is we could go for generator support, which would significantly increase the amount of resources produced by technicians. I think this is a good call. It's going to make any more pops in here way more efficient. Where's those mining jobs coming from? I'm going to go ahead and say there's no miners on this planet. Thank you. This planet is holy. Oh, I guess we did do the subterranean wildlife. This would have been a really good mining world with all that biology, but it sits better as an energy world because of the situation that it's in. And that should allow us to basically not need to produce energy anywhere else. Now, Sectoria can upgrade the planetary capital, or rather the planetary administration to a planetary capital. It'll gain 500 housing, 500 amenities, as well as some extra high priest jobs. So it'll be a nice buff to our unity. It'll also allow certain buildings to be upgraded. So that's great. We'll get that underway. Okay, sick. There's the UV laser. Let's start researching better shields as well. Let's go into our ship designer, auto update these guys, because the DPS per day for the UV laser is about 25%. And so that's a pretty damn big upgrade for us to get. It's going to require 1,000 alloys to get underway, but we'll get it. So there's fleet supremacy. That's going to be useful for the ship build speed and the ship starting experience. So I'm going to go into my government and have a look. I have plenty of edict capacity. I don't think I can afford to pass mining or farming subsidies, but fleet supremacy for sure. Now, interestingly, we do have a bunch of Zro in storage, so we could activate Sight Beyond Sight, but I'm gonna hold off on doing that. In terms of our society technology, I'm gonna focus on improving our economy, grabbing extra food from our farmers, meaning we'll require less farmers overall. Prothon is under attack, that's fine. We will counterattack once the 4th dagger is fully built up. We will be adding an extra 10 destroyers to this fleet. Okay, we've got our generator supports up on fixed state. What we would also like is to get the Chamber of Silence up. That's gonna get us psionic aura intensity, as well as stability and telepath jobs. Perfect. My Minister of State has leveled up, and I really like stacking charismatic because lowering the upkeep of your edicts is very powerful. We finished researching ceramo metal armor, which will allow us to upgrade our ships even more. It would be nice to get afterburners, as this would allow us to convert energy into evasion, if we don't need the extra energy, that is, on our ships. The Dying Light station has been upgraded, so we're going to add 2 more shipyards in order to double the capacity of this to produce ships. And I'm also going to add a fleet academy, because this is going to increase the starting ship experience by plus 100. 100 starting ship experience basically allows it to level up. See if I can find a ship that's a regular here. Yeah, you can see here, a ship that levels up, generally speaking, gets a little bit of a buff to its stats, so damage, hull, and evasion. The first level up takes 100 experience to get you a 10% damage buff, so it's pretty damn good. Okay, perfect. We're going to start reinforcing the 4th dagger that's in command of Oberon. I'm going to send him down to Carino to isolate the southern front and see if we can take out these smaller fleets. Now, in theory, we could upgrade these guys with a better armor. Would be an extra 30 armor hit points. I don't think that's necessarily worth it, but any new ships, and if there is a major development, we will also replace that. I think it'd be, my fleets have sat in dry dock under construction for long enough, and it's time to send out the first one. Let's grab Fleet Logistics Core. This is going to lower our ship upkeep and increase our naval capacity, meaning we can have more ships for less cost. In Ripagawa Prime, I want to completely revitalize this world in the direction of being a 100% a Forge world, so I'm going to upgrade its Ascension tier again. That's going to allow it now to reduce the upkeep of Metallurgists by 30%, meaning if I have only Metallurgists here, super efficient. So I'm going to go ahead and replace these mining districts with city districts because they have 200 Metallurgist jobs each. That will get rid of any mining jobs on this planet, meaning we have a ton of alloys. I'm also going to replace these agricultural farms with a city district. Now this is going to have a pretty hefty cost in terms of minerals, but that's fine. Genuinely, I think luxury residences are still like omega overpowered because they provide you 1,500 amenities, whereas like entertainer jobs provide you with 2,500. 1,500 amenities is insane for like multiplying the productivity of a planet. I could get a temple. We do want the stability to be high here, but the big problem with building luxury residences is that it can create a situation where people want to live here even though there's no productive jobs. They'll be happy to be here as civilians. So we don't want them to be too happy here, and we don't want there to be too much housing. We want there to be enough housing to sustain the population, basically. So I think I'm going to go ahead and build a single hollow theater here to keep these people happy. In Bonos Prime, I'm going to do something similar. I'm going to replace the mining districts with city districts so that we can truly specialize our planets. Specializing planets allows you to get a lot more efficiency out of them. My shipyards are working overtime to reinforce the 4th dagger. I'm going to have them sit on Carino for a couple of months while we wait for the reinforcers to trickle in from Dying Light, and then we can use them to counterattack the fleets that are hanging around Wedgemore and Emmer. We're also recapturing Carino, the planet here. Ooh, the end of the cycle has reached the next phase, so now we have a new Covenant power. So if we add fractalization, we get 100% output. Perfect, we captured Carino. Now Carino is having a stability problem, and I have plenty of room for officials. I have room for 2. So I'm going to recruit an official. This guy will live quite long, and I'm going to try and use him to stabilize this planet. Now there's a few things we can do to stabilize this planet. First of all, we've got Stellar Culture Shock and Pop Approval Rating. So Stellar Culture Shock is lowering the stability. One of the big problems is that the Neopulvanites have happiness of 0 due to paranoia, low amenities, indentured servitude, all these problems. So let's see if we can't maybe make some adjustments. First of all, we're going to build the Chamber of Silence, which will give us stability and anti-crime. And I'm going to look for some sectoid civilians for me to resettle here to work in these sort of elite jobs. So there's afterburners, which is going to make our ships better. I think it would be good for us to get a Corvette hit points. That's going to make our ships harder to kill. And now we can start working on the 7th Cure fleet. First of all, I'm going to upgrade them and then I'll reinforce them. So thankfully the Neopulvanites can work as telepaths, which has significantly reduced the crime on this planet. Now my Empire capital actually does not have a governor. So I'd like to see if I could find someone willing to govern it. I could put my Minister of State in here and that'll allow him to gather more experience. Another thing that I can do in here is actually to ascend this colony. Right now the Empire capital is providing 5 stability, 1,000 housing and amenities, and a couple of other bonuses. If we actually ascend this colony, now it's going to provide slightly more of everything. So let's get those ascensions underway because that's a roughly 50% increase in the effectiveness of this particular bonus, giving us extra stability, etc, etc, etc. These are small marginal ways that we can increase our economy. Okay, the 4th dagger has been built up. Excellent. We're going to go ahead and send them to deal with the invasion in Emer. Awesome, we got a Yut artifact. Emer has been recaptured. Our influence has now hit the maximum cap, so I'm going to start just dropping claims all over these guys' territory so that we can take some of their land from them in this war. I like the fortifier ability. Getting starbase upgrade cost reductions and bonuses to defense platforms, all that sort of stuff is really great. So taking a look at Bonos Prime, I think we produce more than enough consumer goods for our entire economy. So I'm going to start deleting buildings in here, and I will actually get us a holo theater to buff up amenities and stability because pop approval is a little bit low. I could build a medical center. That's actually not a bad idea, because that would give me population growth, which is really strong. I kind of wish I'd done the same thing over here. Oh, I already have the gene clinic. Okay. Point being, I'm probably going to delete some of these city districts in order to free up workers to go work on other worlds. So we can now get access to Supremacy's Unity Tradition war games. This is going to increase our fleet command limit, increase our commander capacity and starting skill level. Perfect. We'll grab that. We'll also get access to another Ascension perk. I do think that Galactic Force Projection is incredibly powerful. Naval capacity, fleet capacity. So let's grab that Galactic Force Projection. We can have an absurd amount of fleet. And we're going to begin the campaign of conquering the sacrosanct Sec Locaran Order, which we had begun long ago, but are now finally able to actually execute our grand designs. Perfect, we got ourselves a Yut artifact. And we have found the Yurt, the Yut home system, which is amazing. It's over here in this contested territory. We'll have to deal with that. It'll be fine. We've got better shields now. It's not quite time to upgrade our fleets. I think we need to get momentum going. Interesting. So the deployment of the water filtrations here has worked out, and now my population is going to get some kind of new trait called psionic hapsy. It gives them happiness, resources, and job efficiency for administrator and researcher jobs. Amazing. Okay, I think it's finally time that I feel comfortable rebuilding a couple of science ships. Right now, we've kind of stabilized and we can have up to 7 scientists, and I need more scientists out here exploring the galaxy so that we can find more people to have borders with so we can declare war on more people. We've improved our Corvette hit points. It would be nice to improve our thrusters as well. This is going to help our fleets get around the galaxy easier. We can also launch the military buildup agenda, which is going to allow our ships to be built faster and lower our claim influence cost. Let's go for the Evolving Society for the extra monthly unity. We can make a lot of unity, but you can never have too much unity, I feel like. It's one of those resources that kind of just gets better the more of it you have. So now we can build slave processing facilities, which will lower the slaves' political power, and that's actually quite important on a planet like Carino. I wish there was a way to show the breakdown of political power on the planet, but basically each pop unit has a political power level based on its size and its stratum here. So you can see these guys get a 50% political power boost, and they have 0.5 base political power, meaning they get a certain amount of political power. By building a slave processing facility, that's going to lower their political power by about 50%, but also provide them with more output. And since we're xenophobes, we don't really like other species. My default strategy is to purge them, so let me tell you, our great leader has died away at the age of -1. Nis Fable. Amazing. Nis Fable served us faithfully. Let's grab a new scientist to replace. Now, we've managed to catch an enemy fleet off guard here, so we'll be able to potentially catch them and kill them. We can get ourselves another Unity tradition. The really nice thing about domination is that it's actually quite good if you're going to run a slave-based economy, which we could potentially do here. Because again, it'll reduce your slave political power and also increase the output of your slaves. And since we now have slaves, I do think domination becomes quite powerful for us, especially with that empire size from POFs. I think I'm safe now to drop the mixed industry off of my capital world and replace it with archives, getting us research and Unity. I'm going to replace these mining districts with city districts as well. So let me have a look at my claims. I need to capture this, 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 and this in order to fulfill the claims that I currently have. When it comes to the empire to the north, I need to capture pretty much everything from here to here. So we are going to work on that with the 7th cure. It's just going to take some time. So in order to buy myself an extra 5 years in the ending of the cycle, I need to destroy 9,000 energy, minerals, food, and alloys. We've upgraded our ion thrusters, so let's keep upgrading our armor so that we can do a fleet upgrade for the next war. Let's see if we can't win a fight against these fleets. We've also got global energy management, which is excellent. Let's keep improving our cold fusion reactors. We need stronger ships. This does mean we can come over to our Gaia world and actually build an energy generation specialization, which is going to give us a significant amount more jobs per district, meaning we won't need quite as many districts. Here we go. Here comes a battle. We've got 16.5k fleet power against 4.8k fleet power, and we completely obliterated them. We destroyed a significant portion of the enemy fleet. Doesn't matter if our weapons were inefficient against their shields. The fact that we have such high-tech weaponry and such a large fleet, we could just do whatever we want to them. So let's go ahead and rampage through and make sure that we capture our claims. And we're going to begin doing the same thing to the empire to the north. We've captured Norberg back, and this was going to be a shipyard, so I'm going to build it up immediately as a fleet academy. Another great leader has died, which is a little bit unfortunate. We will hold an election now. We could activate the Blade of the Huntress to get an extra 25% sublight speed, and I am going to take that. I think Sal Circuit will make a good leader, so I'm going to go ahead and elect them, which means I now have an open counselor position. I'll take Zeph Blake in that role. We've got another Unity tradition that we can grab from the domination tree. I do think enhanced surveillance is nice, plus the extra Unity from enforcers adds up. And so if we grab enhanced surveillance, we can increase the stability of our worlds by +5. I don't think it's necessary for us to grab that just yet. Amazing. So we have found Yutan Majoris. That's going to give us the Yut Cryo Core, as well as 1,000 minor artifacts. We're going to immediately delve into the secrets of the Yut and grab all these resources. Boom. Let's go ahead and delve into the secrets of the Yut. If we could get control of this, that would be nice. And if I remember correctly, the Yut Cryo Core is great because it lowers your ship upkeep, and more importantly, it has that nice energy weapon fire rate increase, which is why we focus so hard on lasers. So there's a cold fusion reactor upgrade. That's excellent. Let's go for hyperspace slipstreams. This is going to give us access to even better hyperdrives, which is amazing. It means our fleets will move around the galaxy even faster, and considering the size of things, that's going to be pretty important. We've also improved plasteel armor. Things are happening very quickly for us. It would be nice to get integrated cybernetics for that 5% habitability. It would help us on a few of our planets. So we have delved into the secrets of the Yut, which is going to give us access to atmospheric filtering and the Yut astronomical interferometer. Perfect. This is also going to allow us to initiate the Yut cleansing process. And what this basically allows us to do is to increase the habitability of a planet. It does cost a sort of short-term devastation problem, but I think a great candidate for this action here is on Corino, because a lot of our population actually doesn't like living here. So I think a Yut cleansing process, while, you know, the planetary devastation is bad, it will recover eventually. Now we have the option here to enact extermination, which is where we lose 3,000 population to gain an extra 10 years of time. That would be about 20% of our current population that we would lose. And I think while I would eventually like to do that, I think I'd like to do a couple of other things first, like this annihilation power. So let's activate annihilation. That's going to slow this situation, and you can only ever do this once. So that bought us an extra 5 years. There's atmospheric filtering, plus 5% habitability, and the Yut astronomical interferometer is actually pretty cool because it has a huge sensor range. It's kind of neat, actually. I don't think we necessarily need it right now, however. We're going to go ahead and grab workplate motivators. That's going to improve our slave and worker pop output. It does allow us to enact extended shifts, but that would just make our workers and slaves less happy. for very little benefit. I'm going to go ahead and settle the status quo with these guys and take a bunch of their planets so that we can prepare for the next war. Perfect. The battle is now over, and we can send our fleets to go deal with these raiding pirates. Oh, I did not notice the food shortage here. Not really sure how that happened. I need more amenities on this planet because I'm not getting the citizen population happiness that I need. So I'm going to build a holo theater on Bonos Prime, which is my factory world. I do also need more civilian industry output, so I'm going to build those two as well. And hopefully we'll be able to encourage migration here. I do have a luxuries distributed effect running right now, hopefully making it a more attractive place to work. One thing is for sure on fixed state is we don't need this much surplus energy, so we could definitely cut some of these technician jobs if we wanted to. What would be nice though would be for us to build this energy grid, which would give us a 20% boost per pop. So I'm going to go ahead and downgrade a single generator district, and the combination of that energy grid building should lead to us having some spare population move to other worlds. Now let's handle some of our new stations that we got. We have the P4L Singularity Station over here. I'm going to go ahead and downgrade that because I don't need it. There is a conclave here. So let's have a look at the Shroud. We're at 222 of the 792 systems that we need to have control of in terms of the aura. And it looks like our aura has starting to reach out here to places like Polymar. I am going to sell off a bunch of spare resources because I need 10,000 energy credits in order to create another Covenant power world, to create a Gaia world, which will be a fleeting paradise for us to build the end of all things. And I think Carino 4 is going to be a farming world, so we'll start building agricultural focus and moving towards agricultural district construction here. So we've got paranoia down to only a minus 25% happiness bonus. Definitely I want to build more of these Chamber of Silences. How long until we can declare another war? 9 years. Well, we have no neighbors really to declare war on aside from them. So we can spend about 9 years preparing for this. All right, let's work on our ship designs. I think 3 UV lasers with a pair of armors and a shield with an afterburner. This does give you a 5% boost in evasion, which is honestly not that much more than just putting a reactor booster on here. The big advantage though is the sublight speed. The sublight speed does help a lot. Shields do take a lot less to maintain than armor. You can see here this costs 0.012 alloys per month to upkeep, whereas armor costs 0.024. So armor is twice as expensive same tier to maintain. But do we care that much about upkeep? I don't think we care that much about the upkeep. So the galactic community has been forged. I'm going to be refusing to join it. So I'm going to harm relations with the sacrosanct Seclocuran Order. This should allow me to make them a rival, although they're too pathetic actually. That's fine. Now all of the political situation of the galaxy is going to be revealed to us, thanks to the foundation of the galactic community. You can see all of these empires have now revealed. Everyone in the galaxy just closed their borders to us, which is amazing. So I just spent my time claiming basically this section of the enemy empire. That'll allow us to get maybe a little bit more power. We are going to end this cycle if it's the last thing that we do, and quite literally will be the last thing that we do. I think I'm going to make this Star Mall into a trade station. That feels on brand for a Star Mall that we have found. Synthhaven, I have no idea what to do. Probably good to just build our basic like medical center, Chamber of Silence. I'm going to build an ancient refinery on Bonos Prime, which is going to get us all of the strategic resources we're ever going to need. And I'm also going to build one on Ripagaur Prime for basically the same reason. I just want to have infinite strategic resources, as those are useful to have. Ceramo Metal Infrastructure is a great mid-game ability because it makes building your planets up a lot faster. And in the late game, or that we're kind of moving towards, oftentimes your sort of bottleneck is how fast can you get your empire to like the direction it needs to be. And so buildings being built quicker will allow us to build stuff up faster and retool our planets. Now, one interesting use we could make of Synthhaven, this new planet, would be to make it dedicated to a specific type of research. We could make it dedicated to xenobiological research and build society research specializations in here, which as an idea kind of appeals to me. Okay, we're going to finish the domination tradition tree, which is going to give us a 10% empire size from pops reduction, which is fantastic. We also get another ascension perk, and I'm going to grab myself Grasp the Void because I like being able to have a lot of star bases if I want to. So we're going to go ahead and research psionic armies, which do a hell of a lot of morale damage. That's going to be very useful for us. in the coming war when we start invading planets. We have paranoia down to only minus 15% happiness, so if we build 3 more chambers of silence, we will have completely eliminated the negative effects of paranoia. I'm going to go for harmony here because I want those colony ascension effects plus 25%. It'll also lower our pop upkeep, which is nice. But the colony ascension effect is the big one there, as we'll be able to ascend up our planets, benefiting a lot from the effects of reduced empire size and, designation boosts. So we've managed to grab psionic armies. Let's grab the Yut astronomical interferometer, because that's going to allow us to actually see really far into the galaxy once we start conquering more people. We now have tier 4 shields, which do require terraforming gases, or whatever they're called, exotic gases, to maintain. But we could lose a small amount of our speed here. We go from 256 down to 243 in order to get another one of these tier 4 shields. And I think our shields now are so powerful, I think they're worth keeping. Like, the tier 4 shields are on par with tier 3 armor. Our corvettes are starting to become like incredibly powerful, evasive machines. Perfect. So we finally got access to tier 4 lasers, which is going to be another bump in DPS. I'm looking forward to that. And we're on the verge of declaring war on our enemies again. So I'm going to start moving my fleets into position. I'll do a quick upgrade on some of them actually. All right, sick. We just got like 13,000 society research from the old god event chain. I'm kind of glad that I just let that run its course. I didn't really have to interact with it at all. It just kind of did its thing quietly in the background. So our empire size is actually rather small thanks to all of the traditions and abilities that we've taken. It should be a lot higher than it actually is. And now we're going to be able to take kinship and harmony, which will make it even smaller, which will allow us to be even more powerful than we are on a pound for pound basis. Our truce with these guys is about to expire, so I'm going to make some claims all over the bottom half of their empire. The Aura of the End has hit 321 out of 792 systems in the galaxy. Now, the Farian Cooperative is the overlord of the Sacrosanct Seclacoran Order, so we are going to want to be careful here about declaring war. Let's make sure we have a few claims on the overlord as well, because they're cheaper before a war is broken out. The Hourglass Tip. So the end of the cycle has reached its midway point, and so now we will have access to a new Covenant power, the power of Distortion. So let's activate that so that we can spread the end of the cycle. We're going to go ahead and declare the war and immediately begin the assault. We have a fleet with 41k combat power, hitting the enemy very fast. There's nothing they can really do about me. I'm effectively an endgame crisis here. We don't need the extra time on the end of the cycle, so I'm not going to bother exterminating my population. I think we're pretty much on target for this cycle. And I don't mind if my enemies capture some of these pieces of land that are kind of hanging around up here to the north. I'm in the process of building up my military. Okay, sick. We just got X-ray lasers. That's huge. So that's another 25% DPS increase over the tier 3 lasers. You can kind of see the theme here, right? So this is 2.32 DPS. This is 3.07 DPS. That's about a 50% increase. This is a 3.91, which is about a 30% increase. And then this one is 5.08, which is about a 25% increase. You can see going from here to here is over double damage. And even if you're doing half damage to shields, you're still doing a lot of base damage. So let's go for the governing ethics attraction and crime reduction from Harmony. That'll give our worlds a nice boost to stability. Okay, sick. We've just unlocked the ability to research hyper relays. We will want that eventually. And I've just turned research to automatic because it's just been getting in the way of me managing the conquest of the galaxy to spread the aura of the end. Since we're in the process of destroying the galaxy, or well, restarting the cycle, I think I would like to build the Grand Archive as a sort of monument to the galaxy that was. We're also going to grab Utopian Dream, which is going to give us +5 stability and 10% reduction on quality ascension effects, or costs rather, not effects, which means we can actually head up to the capital here. And once we have a little bit of unity in stock, we can buff this up significantly. Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if I even need this generator world. Maybe I did this pointlessly. I think what I might do is just clear this world out effectively so that I can get population over to my Forge world. Let's go to our government and make sure we activate our strategic resource edicts, like focusing crystals for extra energy weapon damage, crystalline sensors for extra sensor range, all the volatile ones, all the gases ones. At this point, we may as well also run education campaigns and recycling campaigns, networked movement, even nutritional plentitude to get our people to be happier. Let's create yet another Gaia world, and we'll just quickly build a Chamber of Silence and medical center and upgrade it, and then let those pops migrate over to our Forge world, which is our sort of main objective right now, is to try to get this Forge world producing enough alloys to supply our military, which we're genuinely struggling a bit with. So we're going to finish off the Harmony Tradition tree here, which is going to get us extra colony ascension effects, also edict funds, all that beautiful stuff. Mastery of Nature is a pretty decent ascension perk, so I'll grab that. It'll allow me to improve my planet's habitability and power and all that sort of stuff. Most importantly, it's useful on planets that are like Forge worlds, because it allows you to cram an extra couple of city districts in there. So I'm going to make this modified version of the sectoid Claris into our default species here. This is the one that has both psionic, ep phase, and marked. So I'm going to set these guys as the default species. Okay, we've pretty much gotten the Sacrosanct Seclacor in order to surrender every possible piece of land we can. I'm going to start bringing up the 7th Codex fleet to support the offensive into the Farine Cooperative. We haven't really been able to actually attack them because we've just been holding on the border. Because if I leave this location, they'll pour into it, and that would cause me some problems. We have finally entered into the 4th phase of the end of the cycle. And that means we have 150 months. That's just a little bit over 12 years. 12 and a half years to get the last 320 or so systems into our aura. Now, one thing we can do is do the intensification here, which will actually help us a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and buy some energy credits and press this button, hoping that, oh, I didn't know that couldn't be repeated. I thought that would be repeatable. Oh, that's unfortunate. But I'm hoping that that extra pressure and the disabling of the seals will go a long way. Oh man, look at that. It's happening. 500, 512. Holy damn. We're up to 600 of the planets now. Hopefully this works. You can see the aura of the end has already made it over here to the Union of Emthan space. The psionic order of the Shroud say, I have awakened a horror far beyond my understanding, and I have doomed this galaxy. Well, that was the whole plan, buddy. That's what I was trying to do. Now we're just trying to make sure that it happens. You can see this poisonous, evil aura making it across the galaxy. The Grey Chorus's song gains wings and reaches the ears of all within the galaxy. One thing that really annoys me about this game is, like, why when I click this Starbase upgrade, why can't I click the next upgrade and actually plant? Why do I have to wait for this to finish? Because, like, dude, it's like, just why? Why does it work that way? How has no developer gotten annoyed by that and fixed it at this point? The game has been out, God knows how, and that's one of those things, that's one of those things about this game that drives me crazy, is little things like that. I know it probably shouldn't drive me crazy, and I know it's a small thing, but the small things add up, man. And I hate to say the forbidden words, it's probably an easy fix, but, like, it's not an easy fix. But what I mean is, like, it's a low-hanging fruit thing. Like, bro, you would just improve the experience of the game so much if you did something about it. We have 712 out of 792 systems engulfed by the aura of the end. It will continue to spread. We have less than 10 years until we have failed our mission. I don't believe that we are going to fail our calling. I believe that we will succeed. We've gotten this far. So I think the final worlds that we wanted to occupy has just surrendered to us. So we're just about to declare our war goals achieved, which should result in a pretty big political change across the map here, you can see. So we've got this whole new sector called Lock-in here that we are going to create. We're going to go through and rework every single city, empire, building, etc. And basically my goal is to turn these guys, their empires, into military bases. I think we're going to do, well, we want to wait until the eradication option becomes available to us. So now we can buy ourselves another 20 years by declaring total war against all non-fallen empires. Total war is very unique in that it's total. There's no, like, oh, you need to occupy and do a peace deal. It's like, you win or you die. You win or you surrender. There's no, I trade this bit of land, you get this bit of land. It's like, it's a war for survival. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy us a little bit more time. I'm going to sacrifice some of my population. That'll buy us 10 years. It's been a while since we've upgraded our ships, but I do think that they're a hell of a lot stronger now than they've ever been, with tier 4 weapons, tier 4 shields and armor, tier 2 reactor boosters, tier 3 components with the exception of our sensors. We're starting to look really good. Oh, the galactic community has passed a resolution declaring us the military target. All members of the galactic community are now at war with the Grey Chorus. Oh, baby. They consider me a threat. As they should. Where has the chorus not touched? There's like one system over here, a couple systems on the edge here. There's the L cluster. Do I have to spread it to the L cluster? And then there's like this isolated system here. Do I need like subspace navigation to get to that to spread it? Like, so I believe that this is a total war. So there is no surrender. There is no peace available for us. And that tells me we need to just go full conquest and blow everything up as fast as possible. Even the Mind Wardens have come for us. So we'll need to deal with that as well. Alright, let's attack this Mind Warden enclave and try to obliterate them. Looks like we might just barely clean them. It was rough. And so they won't be able to hold us back with the Shroud seal anymore. So I'm dismantling those Shroud seals. They're hard to see, honestly. Okay, so there's some Shroud seals over here. We will have to go and dismantle them when the time comes. The 4th dagger has been fully repaired and refitted, so we're going to go back and recapture this territory. Nith is under bombardment, so it will surrender soon. It is now mine. I'm going to be prioritizing taking out the Sacrosanct Seclacoran Order, because they're an easy target right now. It's one less guy to worry about if I get rid of them. Oh my god, there's way too many notifications for me to keep up with now. Oh, buddy. Okay, we've made it to Blorg's Bane. Oops, I accidentally made my troops fight the Shard Dragon. Are we going to win? It's looking like it's close. But I absolutely did not mean to fight the Shard Dragon. May as well go finish off the Shard Dragon while we're here. And now the Rubricator is mine. So we killed Shard, and so now this thing can create minor artifacts. It's kind of cool. It's hard to tell which systems I'm missing for the Aura of the End. And another issue that I'm having is I've tried to dismantle these Shroud seals like multiple times, but something's gone wrong and they just won't get deleted. So in hindsight, I should have saved this ability for like this moment here when we're this close to finishing. Oh, sick. Thrall worlds, that's what we want. So how do I create a Thrall world? Let me see here. So do we just downgrade everything? Dude, I wish I could just click this button and it would delete everything. You really telling me I have to do this? Downgrade my city like one click at a time and not know if this is going to work? Potentially torpedoing a planet? Okay, here we go. Thrall world. Boom. So slave domicile districts give housing and overseer jobs. So free pops won't grow here anymore, but on the plus side, it will also provide a huge population bonus. It's so annoying that I have to like rebuild all this stuff now. That's another one of those like things that just like, come on, bro. Really? Was that necessary? That's another area of the game that I think needs a bit of work. Yeah, like so I've tried multiple times to dismantle these Shroud seals. I'm wondering, is there one nearby that I could like find? I'm going to send my fleet over here to see if we can kill this Shroud seal. Because if we can't, I'm just going to be like, you know what? This is pre-release. It's probably a bug that just wasn't caught, whatever, you know, thing happened here. As far as I'm concerned, we basically did it. So I got my capital world up to Ascension Tier 5, getting us a massive boost to stability. We actually have 100% stability here, giving a 30% resource boost. Really powerful. I really do find it annoying because there's so much clicking involved here to turn this into a Thrall world. Like that's... And these are like the little things that drive me so crazy when I play sometimes. And it's the sort of thing that makes me not want to finish a game. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. If I actually capture this Shroud seal, so I think I've discovered a weird little bug. I can't actually, I can destroy this Shroud seal in Janna, but for some reason I can't destroy the Shroud seal in Advatir. So I'm wondering, like, yeah, I don't know if there's anything that I can do here to capture to destroy this, because the dismantling seems to work in Janna. I'm gonna just let this run through here to see if this actually gets destroyed, because my enemies seem to be building more Shroud seals, which is pushing back the Aura of the End. So I'm tempted to just be like, well, look, I'm never gonna be able to reach 100% because of that bug, so we'll just say that's a wrap. Yeah, so we were able to delete this Shroud seal, and then The aura of madness should enter the system now. Yeah, perfect. So we could, in theory, have one. If I had a little bit of knowledge, like I think with the level of fleet power that we have, even if we divvied up our fleets, as long as we beelined the enemy psionic auras, I think we could annihilate them really quickly. It's just, it's a lot of micromanagement. Like, as far as I'm concerned, man, I know we didn't get the satisfying victory screen, but I'm like the 4th most powerful normal empire. I'm gonna call that a win, baby. Okay, sure, we didn't get the final victory screen, but I'm gonna chalk that up to A, Stellaris late game kind of being ass, and B, this bug right here. It's unfortunate, but that's about as close to the victory as you'll get. We won't get to see the actual end of the cycle where the entire universe gets deleted. So I tell you what I will do. I am going to open up this. Can I go into observer mode? Yeah, I'm going to go into observer mode and just let time go for fun. And yeah, I just want to say, thank you again, Stellaris, for sponsoring this video. It was a ton of fun to play, or Paradox rather, for sponsoring this Stellaris video. It's a ton of fun to play Stellaris. I really do. I wish, right, like I would actually forego like a sponsorship deal if they flew me out and I could just like tell them everything that's wrong with the game that they need to fix. They could call it the potato patch, and I promise you it would be and it would be a DLC. It would be the only DLC ever in the history of Steam to get positive reviews, because I tell you, man, I would fix so much stuff with this game because I love it so much, right? I love this game. It's so good, and there's so many little things that annoy me, like the fact that like when you're upgrading a starbase and you click it, you gotta do like you gotta wait till the starbase is finished. Like, why don't we have starbase templates? I can just be like, I want this starbase to be like this. And like, why are starbases so limited? And there's so many mad, weird modules that don't actually aren't mechanically actually any good. And then micromanaging fleets, like when I get to the late game in Stellaris, I just want to be like box select enemy empire, move my fleets out. God, invading planets is like the worst, dude. There's so many clicks involved. I would much rather just be like, when I do the claim system, create a bunch of fleets that would automatically take out, like I'd say, hey, you follow this line, take this out, blah, 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 blah. Because the micromanagement of the military really gets me in the late game. It's honestly, it's my least favorite thing. Like the fact that you have to have like a transport army with your actual military army. That shit drives me crazy. Yeah. What else? Also, I think it's really silly. Like, why do you have a naval capacity and a fleet capacity, right? It does not make sense to do both. It only makes sense to do one or the other. Either you have a fleet capacity, right, where like the amount of naval capacity that you can manage is based on the number of admirals you can field, or you have a naval capacity where you could this is how many ships you can make. But both, in my opinion, is kind of dumb. There's so many like little things like that that drive me crazy. Anyway, I'm going to call that the end of this video. Huge thank you again to Paradox. I love this game. It's awesome. But, you know, like most things that I love, including your mom, it's got a few flaws. I want to thank you guys very much for watching. I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.